Welcome to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us for a impromptu Sunday edition of DAX Machina. Anthony and I and Robbie were kind of kicking this idea around since I had to miss last night for a baseball game. It was a good game. Cardinals won, so we were pretty happy about that. But we're gonna jump in tonight, and it seems like everything seems to conspire against us because Robbie was going to have his partner in crime that they had an interesting encounter, shall we say, together. He's not going to be able to make it in because of a last-minute car wreck. Everybody's okay, but the vehicle was totaled, so he's not going to be able to join us tonight. And we're waiting on Anthony's buddy, Scott, who's running a little late because of family emergency as well. So in the meantime, we're going to talk a little bit about Bigfoot, Dogman, and everything in between. And hopefully we'll see Doc jump in here. I haven't heard back from him. He said he was going to be here tonight, so I guess we'll see here in a minute. Anthony, John, Uncle John, Robbie, how are you guys?
Still around.
Hey, everybody, wish Uncle John a belated happy birthday. It was his birthday. He's 27 this year.
Yeah. You got the numbers right anyway.
There we go.
Yeah, reverse it.
David By says, hey, y'all, I was almost late. I'd swear the post on Facebook said 9. It might have. Facebook is doing all kinds of crazy stuff anymore. Speaking of that, I wanted to let everybody know something. What I might start doing here in the very near future, like possibly the next show, is I might start just only broadcasting here on YouTube and sharing the link to the various Facebook pages. And I'll tell you why. Every time we post a live video, some schmuck from somewhere overseas files a copyright claim against the video on Facebook, and they limit my reach because of it. And I dispute it every time, and it always gets released, but it's becoming ridiculous that every time I put out a show, a different jackass files a copyright claim on the video, even though I tell Facebook every single time it's a live broadcast, it's our intellectual property, nobody else can claim this, and they always end up releasing their claim on it. But it's a time-consuming process. It's a pain in the butt. It doesn't happen here on YouTube. So what I'm probably going to start doing is just broadcasting only to YouTube and sharing it to the Facebook pages so everybody knows when we're going live. Looks like we got a lot of people in the house. Nona Boss is here. Hi, Marty. West Coast Dogman Project. Hey, Shane. How you doing, brother? Tanya Willis is here. Midnight Squatchers. Hey, how's it going? Sue Ashwell, she's here. Werewolf 5674. Hey, brother. Facebook user says happy belated birthday. Again, if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you can authorize Facebook to use your name and they'll let us know who you are. Otherwise, Facebook just gets, it's Facebook, so let's face it. Mark Napier, AJ Cognan, Roberta Pudva, Pat Murphy, Challen Bogus, David By. David, I'll be seeing you in Lexington, Missouri here in a few weeks. Whole bunch of folks. Ronald, Pat Murphy, Midnight Squatchers again, Robert Forrester. There's a lot of folks in the house. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump on in there. If I didn't get your name, I apologize, but thank you guys for being here. I know it was short notice, but let's jump on into this. Anthony, how you doing, brother? You're muted.
I am good. I'm pretty good. So just dealing with it day by day. That's all.
I hear you.
He just needs somebody to kick him in the ass every so often.
Well, that's what he's got you around for.
I would if I get my damn foot up that far.
Ayla Ziveris, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with pronunciations. Says hi from V Team Paranormal. Hope you don't mind, but I want to let everyone know that missing Kylie Rodney was found in the water by Adventures with Purpose today. Prayers for her family. That's horrible.
No, man.
Well, I'm glad they found her, but that's horrible news.
That's a shame.
Another crazy.
Errol Denton says, hey, DA, you're live in the group Bigfoot Believers and Other Creatures. Awesome. Cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I posted it. I posted it to them. I sent them the post, so and just to get them going on it. So,
Well, since we're kind of waiting on your buddy Scott to see if he can make it, let's jump in with a little bit of what Robbie's been doing. Robbie, you wanna tell us a little bit about what you've got? I'm gonna go ahead and load those pictures while I'm thinking about it while you're talking. So you just jump right on in there, brother.
Okay. Well, hopefully everybody remembers we talked about it last show that we had an email from an eyewitness that had an encounter a couple weeks ago just up the road from me in a part of Greenville County. It turned out to be wildlife management. Some of these trailheads connect up to Sassafras, Jones Gap, and Jones Gap is actually where I had one of the encounters I talked with you about, DA, where things were being thrown at us.
Yep.
And Caesar's Head and things, all that. So it's pretty thick country up there. So I met with him Friday and walked up to the area where he had his encounter. And while we were talking about it, he pointed out the tree. And I'm sure you will pop that up in a minute. The tree he pointed to, in my estimation, DA, that's probably about 18 to 20 inches in diameter. The one in the middle, what would you think? About the same?
Hard to say without perspective, but it does not look like a small tree. It's definitely not a sapling.
Yeah,
No.
It's big. The picture doesn't do it justice how big it is, especially compared to those other two that are a lot bigger. But anyway, him and his girlfriend were sitting out in the middle of the creek and heard a snapping, and then turned around and saw the tree shaking. Well, I don't want to get too much into that part of it because we're going to talk about that on my show this week. But while we're sitting there discussing all this stuff, I had the feeling the whole time that we were in there of being watched. I mean, we've all been in the woods and had those feelings. Crickets were still chirping, but I still had that feeling that, we were just being watched for some reason. So I told him, I said, all right, we marked it, or he shared his GPS drop on the that he had dropped with me so I could get back to it. We made a couple breaks in some of those limbs around there so I could walk back in when I needed to. I was actually waiting on Norman to get up there. He was running a little bit late. He was supposed to meet us up there. He ended up getting up there a little bit later. And Norman's in the chat tonight, by the way. So,
hey, Norman. Hey, brother.
We started.
Hey, if you've got a camera and want to jump in, Norm, I'll send you a link. Just shoot me a message, and I'll send you the link if you want to jump in.
So we start easing back towards where we had parked to walk in. This is probably maybe a quarter of a mile that we walked from where we parked to where their encounter was. So we're walking back. We're probably 100 yards from where we parked. And I had just looked down at the track, and I said, or the trail that was walking on. I said, there's a lot of track traps on this road. And as smart as they are, I don't think they're going to spend too much time on this road because they're going to get, it'll catch the footprints. And I no sooner got that out that he looked over and he said, well, does that look like where something's walked up that bank to you? And I looked over and I saw like where the embankment cuts up. I start seeing some displacement, and, some discoloration where things have, and it had rained that morning, probably around 8 o'clock. So all these cuts were pretty fresh because they weren't washed out or anything. So I walk up there and start looking, and I thought I saw a heel print on one side. So when I leaned further over that trackway to look where I thought the heel print was, I looked down just to make sure I wasn't stepping on the trackway. And when I looked down, directly underneath me is where I saw the other pictures you're probably going to put up. I looked down and I saw toe impressions, but I didn't say anything. I looked over. If you see right there where that stick's pointing in, that's what I saw at first. Picture's not great because they were on my cell phone, but I called him over there and I pointed down to it. I said, "What does that look like to you?" He goes, "Oh my God, that's a footprint." I didn't feel.
You can see kind of some of the definition, but it's very muddy conditions. So
yeah, like I said, it just rained, And there
This
were
one, if you look to the left of that lighter, you can see the toe impressions over here to the left side of the picture.
That's a good Bic. Who lost the Bic lighter? I can use that. No, I'm joking.
So anyway, we start taking those pictures, and just for everybody's scale, because me and Doc talked about this the other night, because he asked me to measure so we would know when I was talking to him about it. All that track is, and that's a pretty big track, but all that is the ball of the foot forward. That's bigger than my hand.
So this is on an uphill angle, right?
Yeah. My hand from the heel of my palm to the top of my finger measures almost 8.25 inches long. I got pretty big hands. That was bigger than my hand. So the rest of that foot, probably I would say at least 15 to 16 inches long.
Wow, that'd be a big track.
That's a big track.
Well, that's 8 inches of it right there. You know, there's going to be at least another 4 inches from back to the heel, at least, if not more. So anyway, so we're looking at that, and he said, well, I'm going to go over here to the other side of the road, see if I can see where it came up the hill, because it was kind of, the hill sloped down, and then it went across the track, and then it sloped down again, going back down towards the creek. Well, while he was over there looking on that side, I start looking down in the vegetation. I didn't take any pictures of this because he called me over there just as I saw it. But I did see right in line with that trackway, I saw where vegetation was matted down and starting to, and just things that I learned in that tracking class to look for. I saw everything that I was trained to look for. It is wild to see and actually see it out there in real time when it's not laid down by somebody that you're supposed to find or something.
No, that's definitely a footprint, but yeah.
So he calls me over. He says, I think I found some more over here. So I walk over there to the other side, and it's right in line. It was a straight line. I didn't see anything on the trail, but where it came up that hill on both sides, we found disturbance, discoloration, transference, all that stuff that indicates that something went through there.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're looking down at that, he steps over to the other side so he could get a better view. And when he stepped over, he just kind of looked back up, just I guess to see if it was in line with where we were at. And as he did, he kind of looked up the hill, and where we were standing, we were down on the trail, and there were some caves up there too. And we saw these when we first came in. And as he looked up, there's a rock up there. And I told DA this, you could take a Honda Civic and park it behind this rock. That's how big the rock was on top of the hill. The top of the hill was probably good 50 to 60 feet above us, and then probably 100 to 150 feet away. So out and up. But as he looked up at that rock, he caught some movement. And as he got, hey, Doc.
Hey, guys.
Doc, how the hell are you?
Why I am rolling. Sorry I'm late, guys.
No worries,
He looked
brother.
at me and he said, is there any wind? I said, no, not that I feel. He said, look up at the top of that hill and tell me what you see. And as I looked up, as I was trying to explain it to DA, it's like the rock was right here, and I would have been on this side of the rock. This is what I saw, something go back here, kind of doing like we were talking about tree peeking, but it was a rock. So he's rock peeking. And that's all I could see was just that much movement right there. So he saw it move from our left to right. I just saw like the last part of that left to right movement.
Robbie, did you see the question here from Midnight Squatchers? He says, very interesting print. How deep was the impression? And were there any other signs, tree breaks, etc.?
I didn't see any tree breaks because as we were looking for that, all this kind of just happened like this as we were walking out. So we saw that. We went over and looked for the other. I didn't. And then we saw that, and I was like, okay, because all we had was our sidearms and 9mm at that. I really wasn't.
Beats throwing.
True, but I wanted to see what would happen when we eased out anyway. I wanted to see if it paced us out, which it did. And so once we found all that, we saw that movement, I made a decision. All right, let's ease on out of here and see what it does. So as we walked on out, like I said, another 100, 150 yards like that back to where we were parking, it started pacing us because we could hear it walking. And then once we crossed the gate, get back in the gravel parking lot, it stopped. So it's a pretty good investigation for what I told you. But man, I hope this turns out to be something.
Definitely.
It was pretty
Pat
good.
Murphy, thank you for the super chat. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe over to Pine Box Tales. They've got some really good content over there. But stick around tonight before you go over there.
But to answer the question about how deep it was, I'd say about 1/4 of an inch because, like I said, it was going up the hill and it wasn't dug in a lot. But there was a lot. There was a lot of marring and a lot of prints over top of prints. So, the ground was still pretty. Even though it rained, it was still pretty hard going up that bank. So, not as deep as it probably should have been, but it wasn't a full impression of standing down completely on all the way anyway.
One thing I found interesting about that picture, the first picture I showed, and now again, everybody that knows me knows I have a very big dislike of red circle pictures with nothing in them. But this one, the red circle's on there just to call attention to the spot. I'm not saying there's something there. I blew it up. It still kind of looks like leaf litter, but at the same time, it kind of looks like something's back there. There's not enough detail to say one way or the other definitively. I blew it up as high as I could in my photo editor program, and it still, like I said, it still kind of looked like leaf litter, but I've got the circle around it just so you get to call your attention to the spot I'm talking about. I'll let you guys decide for yourself if you see anything or not. Again, I'm not big on red circle photos of just bushes, but I kind of feel like there might be something there, but it's almost impossible to say for sure.
There's something dark there.
Exactly. It doesn't match the rest of the foliage is why it jumps out to me.
And I didn't notice it until DA pointed it out to me. And when I started looking, he didn't have that. I did that circle because I wanted to know if I was looking in the same spot he was. So I sent that back to him. So that's not DA feeding anything to me.
No.
That's him saying, hey,
I think I see something. And then he circled it. He says, "This is the spot." And he sent me the picture. I'm like, yeah, that was exactly where I saw it. Again, I blew it up in my photo editor program just as far as I could blow it. And again, it was done with a cell phone, so it gets pretty grainy pretty fast. Mm-hmm. But just the impression I get from the coloration, it doesn't really match what's behind it. So, is it pareidolia? Maybe. It's not a smoking gun photo, and I'm not trying to present it as that. I just want you guys to take a look at it and tell us what you all think. But that was just my first impression when I saw that spot. I thought, looks like there's something kind of peeking out from behind that tree, but it's impossible to be 100% sure.
Kind of like a hairy eyeball,
Kind of like it's just like leaning out from behind like peeking out a little bit. It's really hard to see, and again, when you blow it up, it gets grainy pretty fast because it was shot on a cell phone, and it wasn't like done with a telephoto lens with 4K imagery or anything like that. It was just an image snapped quick on a cell phone, so it's not the best possible resolution. It's just, to me, it just kind of lends credence because that's the exact tree he said was shaking.
Well, Robbie, you're going to take that camera out, right? That you bought your daughter, the one I sent you.
Next time we go up there, it's going with us.
Werewolf and Frank said they don't see it, and I totally get that. It just kind of, I can't swear there's actually something there. It's just I had the impression there was something darker behind the foliage.
Yeah.
West Coast Dogman says photo looks more clear than some of the red circles we've seen in the last week. Yeah, and again, I hate posting red circle photos. They just drive me insane because 9 times out of 10, it's just somebody circled a bush and I don't want to be that guy, but to me, the shadowing looked different, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. Joshua Dickinson says palm leaf could very well be. I mean, it could very well be. It just kind of gave me the impression there might be something there because that was the same tree that he said was shaking. But again, everybody, you guys make your call.
Yeah,
I'm not
in the area when I took that picture. So.
Yeah, something was shaking that tree pretty hard, and something was in the area, but obviously it left tracks. But I make no claims as that being any kind of smoking gun. And here's the one without anything on it. You can see, what the area I'm talking about without the red circle. To me, it just kind of drew my attention to it because our minds naturally look for shapes. But I, like I said, only reason I wanted the circle around it was to call attention to the spot I was talking about. Could be absolutely nothing, and then that's the problem with pictures of bushes, is because they very easily could be nothing. Our brains are kind of pre-programmed to look for patterns. Thus, the word pareidolia. So it could be absolutely nothing. It was just kind of something that caught my eye.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It
George,
is what it is.
anything?
Yeah.
David Bice says, I've seen a lot of red circle photos and others where I can't find anything. That's the case with me 9 times out of 10 on a red circle photo.
Mid-Florida Bigfoot. Hey, everyone.
Corey calls us DA. That's why I circled the pic I sent you with yellow instead of red.
That's good.
Mid-Florida Bigfoot researchers. Hey, hey, how y'all doing? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, speaking of them, Marie was just on. She was out this weekend, and I was going to tell you guys and send you the thing. She found some pretty cool stuff out in the swamp area. More like structures, man. Like, it was just crazy stuff. I watched her video it was from 6 hours ago, but she found some pretty cool stuff out there. She always does. Every time she goes out, they find prints, they find structure, or something.
One of them would look like a little bit like a teepee.
Yeah, like a teepee type of deal.
Yeah.
So
Out of tree.
I'd go back and watch that.
yeah, she finds some really cool stuff. So,
but Anthony, any word from your buddy Scott?
no, man. I know he's at his dad's house. His dad's sick. He's just a stubborn guy. He doesn't want to go to the hospital, and everybody's there. So I've been playing phone tag with him all night. Plus, he's not home. He's in Georgia. So I sent him the link. He's trying to get on. He wants to wait for his sister to get there to take over so he can jump online, because it's just him and his wife there right now. So I apologize to everyone. I know we had it posted, and things happen. That's life. Sorry. So, again, I'm sorry.
Hey, no problem at all, man.
It happens, man.
It always seems like every time we plan on something crazy happens.
Yeah, but he's definitely coming on the show. At least I connected with him again. He's feeling better. I know that he had a heart attack. That's why I lost contact with him. He was in and out of the hospital, and they screwed up. This is the best thing. He went to the doctor for blood work. They did the blood work. Tell him to go to Walgreens and pick up his prescription. So he thinks it's for his stomach because he was having problems with his stomach. Meanwhile, his sugar was at 648.
Wow.
So he gets home. Okay, they don't tell him that he's diabetic. Gets home and he has a massive heart attack, this guy. So it's crazy. So.
Well, I'm glad he's doing better, but I'm sorry to hear about his father. That's never good news.
Yeah.
A couple people asked about that picture. I'm going to throw that picture up one more time. I'll throw the one up with the red circles so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And again, I apologize. I hate red circles, but it's just to call your attention to the area. If you guys don't see anything there, it's a very high likelihood that there's nothing there.
Shane posted this.
Yeah. That's why I stopped going out and taking pictures of tree lines. There's a difference in photos with red circles with encounters when guys taking pictures of tree lines and doing red circles. And if you look to the left of that tree in the middle of that red circle, there's just something dark there. And when I zoomed in on it, like I said, it got pretty grainy pretty fast. Could just be a shadow. I'm not saying this is a definitive smoking gun Bigfoot picture, not making any claims like that. I just had a feeling like that was something more than what I was seeing. But again, it could be absolute pareidolia. It just struck me as odd because that was the same tree Robbie said had been shaking not long before. And considering the size that would taken something fairly significant to shake it. Here's the same image without the red circle. But if you look, there's quite a bit of shadow in the background all over this picture.
Yeah.
So again, I'm making no claims. It's just something just kind of popped out and caught my eye. I thought maybe might be something there, but zooming in is kind of fruitless because it's not a clear enough high resolution photo to be able to zoom in closely. So,
and like I said, I went in not as prepared as I should. I went in more prepared to survive if something happened than I did to do it.
Yeah, that's what me and you were talking about that night. Me and Robbie were talking that night, and he was saying, he was like, you pack more for survival than doing research. And then I mentioned the casting stuff to him. He's like, damn. He's like,
well, the first thing DA said to me was, man, that would have been nice if you had one of them rulers. And I'm like, yeah, I got one. I just don't know where it's at.
Yeah, I've got to dig through my old crime scene and evidence stuff. After I medically retired, I packed all that old stuff into totes and stuck it in the closet. So I still got it all. I've just got to go through it and get it all out.
Well, and you know this, DA. You change cars so many times in that profession. Stuff gets it goes from trunk to trunk to trunk to trunk. So it's probably in my garage somewhere in a box.
Hey, Rob, you're gonna love this. My buddy Matt, he's not a cop anymore either. He left shortly before I did, but he got assigned a new car, and when he picked up the car, the shotgun was still in it. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just sign it out and clean it. He said it looked like it hadn't been cleaned in a while, and so he takes it out of the rack, goes to clean it. And the entire barrel has been stuffed full of candy wrappers. The guy had been eating candy and stuffing them down the barrel. He said it took him an hour to get all the leftover candy residue out of the inside of the
messed up.
Man.
Can you imagine shooting a suspect with that thing? Here comes over. You'd be like, what the hell?
He said there are probably 200-300 candy wrappers stuffed down in there.
Holy shit.
I said, thank God the guy never needed to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Can you imagine? That's classic. Classic.
That is not the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but it's pretty close.
No, that's up there, though.
It's right up there, though.
Toshi the Wolf says it's a Joker gun.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's a confetti gun. There we go.
No, Candyman can. The Candyman can.
Yeah. He said it was all like caramels and stuff, so it had residue on it. It was all over the inside of the barrel. Took him forever to get it all out.
That'd be the candy cannon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Corey Cole says, imagine explaining that one. He didn't. He just said, well, it's mine now. I got to clean it out.
I got one similar to that. We had a guy at the courthouse, and they issued some of the guys at the courthouse. I had my own Glock to carry, my Glock 17, and a lot of the guys that were in there doing the bail-up work, they get issued Glocks. So this old timer sitting there by the gate, and I was head of the armory department there, and I would take all their guns and clean them. So he hands me this gun after work, and I think I told Uncle John this, and he hands it to me, and I'm like, and I'm looking at it. It's a Glock 17. It's a first generation. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, this thing is nasty. Like, lint and everything. He never took it out and cleaned it. I could not get this thing to chamber. I could not get the slide to go back on this gun. To go back on the gun, I had to soak it in the sonic cleaner for 4 days to break apart all the stuff on it. And I looked at him and I go, bro, if you had to use this, what were you going to do? Throw it at someone? I said, you couldn't get a round off. The thing would blow up in your face.
Impact weapon.
When I was working security at the hospital, I was still a commissioned deputy, but we had this young kid, and I won't bust his name out on the air, but he was talking smack one day. We were standing outside watching a parking lot, and he's, because we had some activity in the parking lot, we thought people were trying to break into cars, and he's like, you know why I'm so good at this job? I'm like, what's that? Why is that? I'm just kind of watching him. He's like, because I am hyper vigilant. I'm like, are you? He's like, yeah. So I see everything. Nothing gets by me. And I'm like, oh yeah, do tell. And he's like pointing at buildings and stuff. And while he's pointing at buildings, I'm like one by one taking his magazines off of his belt. And I even ejected the one from his pistol. I'm like, do you carry around in the chamber? He's like, no, I don't see the point. I'm like, well, one, you're a moron. I would keep around in the chamber. And two, what are you going to do when you're unloaded? And handed him all his mags back. He's like, how did you do that? I'm like, well, you tell me, Mr. Observant.
Yeah, you
Like
find them
Batman
all.
playing with the Green Lantern.
Yeah, you find them all, man. You get some guys that are not even they're not even ready for law enforcement. They shouldn't even be in law enforcement, but somehow they make it through. And I don't get it. I mean, I've seen it.
They shouldn't
Robbie's
even
probably
be
seen
allowed
it.
outside in public.
Right. You know, John's seen it. DA's seen it. You just, certain people just don't belong there.
Mm-hmm.
William Nighthawk's in the house. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, man. I posted his thing out. He's not doing too good, people. So if anybody got my post that I sent you guys, please help out. And I hate to say it, he's dying.
Sorry to hear that, brother.
So, you know, just everybody help out what you can or whatever he needs or support, whatever.
He's got stage 4, so it's
Something on his brain stem.
Hate to hear that.
So-
Yeah, it's horrible.
got a
So-
tumor in his brain.
We got your back, William. Don't worry about it, man. Whatever we can do, we'll do.
Absolutely.
Right, brother.
Well, since Scott hasn't been available and Robbie's partner in crime isn't, they're wanting to hold off telling too much about it till they talk about it on their own podcast. Which, Robbie, tell us about the podcast again, real quick, before we change subjects.
It's not going away. We've the guy that I met up with to do this investigation has kindly offered to. He said he wanted to, kind of ease into it, so we're gonna let him come on the show and talk about about his encounter, and then talk a little bit about our encounter. And he's probably going to end up maybe taking Lance's spot for now.
Okay.
So it's not going away. It just got a little small delay. So it all worked out. Hopefully for the best.
Tell everybody the title of the show and where they can find it.
The title of the show is What's Really Out There. We're on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Believe we're still on Amazon. It's on YouTube. The email address is What's Really Out There 2022. So What's Really Out There 2022 at gmail.com. Email us any stories you got. We want to dig into a lot of stuff around the upstate if we can, but we're going to dig in things everywhere. We got a couple of episodes already planned out. Obviously, this one is going to be the next one. We're going to try to work out a set schedule where we try to get at least 2 shows out a week now. So hopefully that'll work out. And then I'll still be part of this show too. So just one big family.
We have a link. We have a link for Robbie's show because Werewolf asked.
Give me just a second.
Just send any one of them, DA, if you got any, or I can send you another one if you need me to. And
Go ahead and send me one because I don't know where I've got mine saved right at the top of my head.
hang on, I'll send one.
Who wants to be the first guinea pig to read this first story of the night? Robbie always ends up getting the really long ones. So I want to know, this is truly random. Who wants to go first?
Give it to John. Let John do a long one.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Oh, this I don't know how long this first one is. I just copied it.
His luck, it'll be 2 lines, and then Robbie will get one that's 15 pages.
Yeah, I'll get the War and Peace Part 3 this time.
I got to go back over here to get it. So
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sending it to you now, John.
all right.
But Doc, anyway,
very long.
I got the package. Thank you. I sent you a text. I didn't know if you got it. Me and John say thank you, man, very much.
You're very welcome, man.
So it's pretty cool. I got it sitting right here.
Awesome.
Robbie's got his on his tack vest for work already, and then his hats.
Doc, I'll send you the second one.
Right on, man.
How's work going, Doc? You're in Texas?
Yeah. Just got done with class and heading home tomorrow,
Okay.
and then heading to West by God, Virginia on Friday.
Wow. Wow. Does Angie go with you at all? Does she travel with you at all? No. Huh?
Not all the time. Sometimes she can. if schedule allows it.
Okay.
All right. Encounter outside of Boulder, Wyoming. Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay. Dogman sighting details. 8 years ago, my brother John was heading home from his girlfriend's house off a county road outside of Boulder, 11 miles south of Pinedale, Wyoming. It was around 1 or 2 a.m. when he saw what he said was a huge dog traverse down the slope on the south side of the road and commenced to run alongside his pickup. He was driving a 69 to 70 Ford F-150 Highboy, which came from the factory lifted. The dogman was running with him at 35 to 40 miles per hour. There's a 2-3 foot barrow ditch running alongside the road, and the dogman's head was level with his as he was driving. So John puts his height to 7 to 8 feet. It was dark in color with gray or white on its muzzle, running from its nose to under its eyes, which were amber in color. He sped up to 45, and the dogman kept up with him, often looking inside the pickup. He said at around 50 miles per hour he lost it, and that's all he would tell me. No, that's that one. That's all of it.
Well, it wasn't a very long one then.
John got the short one.
So
Well,
it was
well,
chasing his vehicle.
Ha ha, Robbie.
Robbie's
Hey,
gonna get
happy birthday, Uncle John. There you go. That's what birthday present to you.
I was waiting for that.
Robbie's gonna get the 2-hour one with the coffee and everything else in it. Watch.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
We're not gonna go there on that one, but okay. I know what
Yeah,
Robbie's
let's not get into that.
what Robbie's talking about. We'll tell Doc after the show. He'll get a kick out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everybody for saying happy birthday. You know, I'm quitting having them.
Yeah.
27 and holding.
Yeah.
I have been waiting for a special occasion to sample something I brought back from Tennessee.
I
It's
can see that.
Old Smoky Salted Caramel
Oh.
bourbon.
Ooh.
I haven't cracked it open yet. I've been holding on a special occasion.
Me and John we were driving to North Carolina to my mom and dad's cabin. On the way home, we stopped in Pigeon Forge where that store is, and it was closed. Closed. We were going to go in there and grab some, and it was closed.
That sucks. I got mine in a convenience store. Derek Buckle says, "Is the vehicle chasing or looking common for a percentage of dogman sightings?" It does seem to happen fairly regularly. It's not. I don't know if it's a significant percentage of dogman sightings, but there's enough of it happening that I would say it's a fairly typical behavior.
Yeah, well, they're
And it's
trying to
something we can
reach
talk about.
hubcaps, you know.
Yeah, there we go.
They want
He's
to
a
be
big
the name.
admirer of cars.
Hey, what year is that? Wait a minute, let me catch up.
Pork and Bean says, "Seems like dogmen running next to cars. Like running next to cars. Just heard a story of a guy shooting one next to a semi truck and killed it. Yeah, I actually met the guy that told that story at the Dogman convention. I'm going to be talking to him in the next week or so to have him on here. So yeah, his story is really good, and I want to get him on here to tell his story firsthand. So I don't want to go on the touch on the story right now, but yeah, the basics of that is he had one come up to his vehicle and he shot it. But the story is very good. Any comments on that other than it chasing the vehicle? Yeah, Tombstone says Robbie's going to get the novella now.
Probably so.
Doc, you're up then, brother.
All right, man. So this account comes from Montana, Carbon County, August 15th of 2004. He starts out saying, "I'm probably the youngest person to come to you about this. I'm 16. Grew up here in Montana, and I'm very active in outdoors. When I was 4 or 5, I lived with my parents in a small town next to the highway. Our house was right next to it, and my room faced a gravel road. that went into the highway. It was summer, and then we didn't have any AC, so I'd leave my window open at night so I would stay cool. One night, I woke up and noticed a silhouette standing outside my window. My eyes focused, and I saw that it had a furry outline and these frost blue eyes it was looking at me with. I sat up in my bed, frightened, but I didn't feel the need to yell out for my parents or anything. It just kind of stared at me. While I was looking at it, I saw that it had pointed ears with tufts of fur like lynx have, and a muzzle like a German shepherd. It was fairly muscular and was almost resting on my windowsill, like it was leaning up against it. We stared at each other for a good couple of minutes, and then it smiled at me like a dog does and even tilted its head. It then backed away from my window, walked across my yard to our chain link fence, and literally stepped over it. I got out of bed to watch this thing as it got down on all fours and ran across the road and the highway. Listening, I heard it yip and bark while on the other side, which was the prairie with a butte and then forest. It was almost like it was calling to others. Looking back on this, I felt like maybe it felt like I didn't pose a threat. Maybe it was just curious. Back then, I was just a little kid, and now at 16, I'm a lot bigger. I'm 6'7" and I weigh almost 200 pounds, so I'm thinking if I saw one of these again, I probably wouldn't get the same reaction. That's a big youngin'. Holy hell!
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'd like to know from this one how high up off the ground the bottom of his seal was. You know, just because he said it stepped over a chain link fence. But yeah, I don't know if we've ever had an account from anybody his age. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's different. I'll tell you, yeah.
That was a short story again. I guess. Well,
Robbie, you're in the barrel, buddy.
You're in it. You're going to get the shook straw now. You're done.
No, I already sent him a message. I'm going to take the next one. It's a long one.
Robbie's going to have the Dogman War and Peace. So.
Yeah.
Robbie's like, I'm having some difficulties. Blink.
Poor Robbie. Everybody picks on poor Robbie.
Thanks for noticing, Uncle John.
Yeah, I'm on your side, but I got your 6. Yeah, all right.
Okay, this one's a little lengthy. It's from northern Idaho, the Hoodoo Valley, which I'm not familiar where that's at, but sounds pretty cool. Says last winter. What?
About 80 miles north of Boise.
Oh, okay. Says last winter, right after the first snow, my mother and I were driving home from Coeur d'Alene. You have to cross the train tracks twice to get to my house. After the second crossing is our neighbors that hang all kinds of crazy signs about giants in the woods, government cover-ups, and the hoodoo legend of the howler. I wonder if that's anything like the Ozarks howler. That's pretty cool. We've always thought these people were talking about Sasquatch. We're members of the BFRO, but we never guessed a chance for we never guessed a chance for Dogman. We were passing the Looney house, and it was around 2200 with clear vision. There's a bull pine tree line to my right and a hillside to my left, and my property straight on top of the hill. My brights were on, and I remember scanning the tree line as we were passing, and about 12 feet up were 2 red reflected eyes surrounded by a black mass with shoulders, no neck, and pronounced ears. My shock caused me to ditch from not paying attention. There's an extra word in there. That's what was throwing me off. To ditch from not paying attention to the road. We were high centered for about 5 minutes. I stepped out to lock my hubs, and I remember that overwhelming feeling of being watched, which hurried my project. When I got back in the car, the feeling didn't go away. I quickly got out of the ditch and sped up the hill to the house. My mom was asking me why I was so worried, which she later found out why. About midnight, Mom was woke up by the most guttural howling you could imagine. Mom yelled at me across the house and asked if I was awake. I had already had my window cracked and listening to the sounds that we still hear every now and then. I then later looked for anyone who knew anything about what I saw. Then I located, I won't name the name of the show, on the East Coast. He gave me the best info he could, which was extremely helpful. I then armed myself with an AR-15, 45 revolver, and a 380. It was the best I had at the time. I figured a guy on the phone might be full of it, and the only way to get the truth was to find out yourself. I tracked I tracked it through the snow to the location that I'd seen the eyes in the exact tree. There were no tracks in the snow. I thought I was just seeing things and got all worked up for nothing. But then I looked up, and around 13 to 15 feet up the tree and about 7 feet up as well were claw marks dug into the tree. I started looking for other trees, and sure enough, there was a trail of claw marks from tree to tree. I've mentioned that happening before. Eventually, the mystery trail came to an end and gave into another shocking trail, large enough to dwarf a lion print with the largest dog prints I'd ever seen. The trail seemed to step over large brush piles and bushes. Eventually, it led to the quad trail that follows the lower part of my property and Hoodoo Lake. What I saw next still lies there. A deer carcass with no head, no hindquarters, and no vital organs. On closer examination, the neck bone was crumbled and shattered, surrounded by torn flesh. Both legs were broken. Let me speak English. Both legs were broken with no bite marks, and the ribs had been separated in a pattern that indicated hyperextension. There was a lot of scuffle in the snow from coyotes, but I've never seen coyotes leave the breast meat and the back straps. What concerned me even more was I found a leg wedged in the fork of a thin pine about 12 feet up off the ground. This tree couldn't support a bobcat. I've never gone back in the woods behind my house without being armed since. My neighbors now think I'm the crazy one. I dress in full combat gear when I set trail cams. I guess I'm the weird one now, but I will tell you this. There's something in my woods that has the rancher across the street thinking a grizzly attacked his cows in November. Every neighbor hears the howls. I asked the landlord at the bar if he had seen or heard anything while he was living here, and his face went white as a ghost. I haven't had a sighting since, but I did have an ice ball thrown at my car, and there's no kids in this neighborhood. That's it.
Yeah, claw marks. No, like Barry said. Now, claw marks. She's gone.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later. You know.
That's one, Anthony. Two, bears don't howl. So you know, I mean, and then three, you got a hind quarter of a deer 12 foot up in the crook of a tree. That's a big red flag right there.
I know bears leave claw marks on trees
bigger than a
because
lion's
that's what
paw
they
print.
do. Yeah. I mean, they leave claw marks in trees, bears, but I mean, they'd have to be. It's, you know, how high up was that again, DA? That was what from the. He said it was high up on the tree. The claw marks.
Yeah, said about 15 feet up. I think is what he said.
I don't think a bear's going to do that 15 feet up in a tree.
No, it'd be a really big grizzly.
There'd be a mark on the ground where it fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. Sorry. No, like Norman. Yeah, Norman. He said it right here. 458. Yep.
That's right. Robbie, fair warning. I thought I was taking the long one. You got one just as long. I thought I'll take this long one, and Robbie won't have to worry about a long one. Nope,
Hey,
the next
hey,
one is
Robbie, I
long.
told you so.
Yep, you're right, John. Here we go.
Get prepared. Settle in. Let's go.
He's right. He's got his hat backwards and everything. Go for it.
Yeah. All right, this is from Idaho Falls, Idaho. My name is blank. I am 47. I'm a 47-year-old female from Idaho Falls, Idaho. I grew up in Idaho. And I'm an avid animal lover, especially wolves, since I was very young. I am writing to tell you about my Dogman encounter when I was around 16 or 17 years old. It would have been around 86 or 87. Anyway, myself, my friend L, a female, and my other friend B, male, decided one night to go to our local cemetery and look for what we called the knocking grave and the werewolf grave. See? Well, I go looking for something that says the werewolf grave. Anyway, I digress.
You know dang good and well we would.
I know. Devil's advocate. We found the knocking grave and discovered that it is just a loose board that vibrates back when you knock on the grave. We never found the werewolf grave, so we just chalked it up as being a myth. We decided to go back to the car, and we're talking when L and B decided they wanted some alone time. Okay. They were a couple back then. I got out of the car and decided to walk around the cemetery by myself. It was a beautiful night with a full moon shining above. Ironic, I know. I was walking along looking at the old gravestones and thinking of how sad it is that so many people are completely forgotten after they die. And when I heard a strange sound to my left, I was standing near the mausoleum looking down into another part of the cemetery. I heard the sound again and started walking towards it. It sounded as though something was crunching or something. I stood there for a minute listening. I immediately noticed how quiet it had gotten. And the hair on the back of my neck and arms were standing up. Usually there's noise from cars or dogs barking or crickets or something like that, but there was nothing. I then saw a silhouette or something big and black standing a little ways away from me, around 25 feet away to be exact. Something told me to back away slowly and leave now, but I ignored it. I crept closer to the creature, never taking my eyes off of it. My eyes had adjusted to the darkness, and I could see very well, especially with the moonlight helping light up the night. What I saw terrified me and also piqued my curiosity. The creature first looked like a huge wolf, but the front legs and torso were abnormally large, and the back legs were huge as well. It had a long furry tail behind it, just like a wolf's tail. The head was huge and had long pointed ears, and I think it's supposed to be tusks, but it says stuffs of fur at the tips. From what I could see, it was leaning down and was eating something. The sounds I'd heard was the crunching it made when it was biting into whatever it was eating. I was excited because I had always wanted to see a wild wolf, and I thought that was what I was looking at. I figured that maybe a wolf had escaped the zoo, which was right next door to the cemetery, and had caught a rabbit or something. I realized though that the zoo didn't have a wolf in it, and it had to be one, and it hadn't had one in years. That made me even more excited and curious. I stared at the creature for about a minute or so, and then I shifted my legs to get more comfortable, and I must have stepped on a twig or scuffled my feet because the creature suddenly stopped eating, looked up, and turned its head my way. It then stood up on its back legs, and I heard a loud pop, and that was when I realized that it was not a huge wolf. It was black and had a few brownish streaks in its fur. And when it stood up, I saw its head, chest, and stomach and lower body. The shoulders and chest were massive and covered in fur that tapered down as you look at the stomach area and legs. It reminds me of a bodybuilder on steroids because of how muscular it was. As I stood there, it started to sniff the air and stopped and stared my way. The eyes were a deep orange gold and seemed to glow in the moonlight. It looked at me, and I felt fear grow deep within me, and that I had never felt before. I knew it saw me, and I knew I had made a huge mistake by not leaving when I first got that bad feeling. It felt as though everything went cold, and this creature could see within my soul. It stared at me for a minute, and then it opened its mouth and bared its teeth at me as if it were smiling. Its teeth were huge and yellowish white, and they looked very sharp, just right for ripping its prey apart. It never took its eyes off me. It then lifted its arm and took a bite out of whatever it was eating. I then realized the sound that I heard was crunching bones and tearing flesh as it ate its meal. The hands were like elongated paws, and at the end of each finger were huge black claws that gripped the leg that it was eating. I stood there watching it eat for what seemed like an hour when it could have only been a few minutes. He never took his eyes off of me. The fear I felt overwhelmed me. I felt sick, and I was visibly shaking, and so I did the one thing that I had been taught to never do when confronted with a predator. I turned and ran as fast as I could to get back to the car. I didn't care. I couldn't get his eyes out of my head and that smile, those teeth. I could imagine it catching me and ripping me to shreds as I ran. I made it to the car though, flung open the door, and jumped in screaming for B to start the car and get us out of there. They asked me what was wrong, and I just yelled at them to go now. B looked at me and saw the terrified look on my face, so he started the car and we left, and I never went back to the cemetery again. Later that night, I told B and L what I had seen. They both laughed at me and told me it was just my mind playing tricks on me, which made me feel hurt that they didn't believe me. But I could hardly believe it myself. I saw a werewolf, or what's referred to as a dogman, and I will never forget it.
That is awesome.
That's
Yeah,
a real
that was a good
well-written story.
You know, when I was young, you go and you pick up a girl and they don't want to slide over next to you. I'd drive into a cemetery, pull over, and start talking to a gravestone. Boy, they slide right over. That's kind of soft.
Of course you did, Uncle John.
At
I
least,
did. I swear to God, I did.
at least there was no coffee involved in this one.
Yeah, give it
Doesn't
time.
matter. That's why we never cared for bucket seats back then, you know.
Juanita asked the question. She wants to know where your black hat is.
Okay, I'll swap.
Oh, there you go, Juanita. You got it.
With the and blind you in the meantime.
Patty, thank you again, honey. Thank you. That was awesome.
There we go. Derek Buckle says Dogman plus cemetery. That seems to happen a lot. A lot of Dogman sightings are either in or around cemeteries or Native American burial
Yeah,
grounds.
Shane
I've
was
heard
saying
that a
that
lot,
on his
too.
show. He said on his show the other night they're like watchers or guardians of the dead or the cemetery. Or Shane was mentioning that on his show the other night. He gets numerous stories. So. T. Williams says,
definitely
Uncle
a
John,
common
that was
theme.
smooth.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
used to go
we-
to the graveyard all the time too. Yeah.
Well, that
He had-
was long, but it was written well. So
No, that was a
easier to
good
get
one. That was a good
Yeah.
one. No one lost its arm, and there was no coffee involved. So
through. No.
I was gonna say
Right.
that too, Anthony, but nobody went for coffee a single time. So
Yeah.
No.
there you
No trains to jump on,
no,
no coffee to be
No.
drunk. I mean,
Right.
you know,
no.
Didn't throw rocks at him, you know.
no.
Well, night's young.
They're like a headstone come flying across. You know.
DA knows something that he's not telling us when he said the night's young. So there's going to be one in there with coffee or something.
go. Yeah, he's the keeper of the stories. So
Yeah.
we're
One
gonna
thing
get
I do want to mention is if any of y'all are members over at the Patreon community, which is patreon.com/DA Roberts Author, you guys get a lot of advanced look at some of the things on there. I just posted a new short story called Wrath of the Dogman that's available for the patrons to look at and read. It's also going to be featured in one of the podcasts by Josh Nanochi over What Lurks Beneath. Right now, it's exclusively for the patrons who are over there until Josh has a chance to get the video up, and then it'll be published with a collection of short stories a few months from now. But at the moment, for those of you who are members of the Patreon community of the short story tiers, it is currently available, and it's a 6,000 or 7,000 word short story. And everybody here, I think's read it except Robbie. I need to get a copy to Robbie so he can read it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
John-
Yeah. If you
John-
can read it, Robbie, it's longer than that story you just said.
Well, I've got plenty of experience, Uncle John. So
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. She mentioned this in the YouTube video that she's talking about, that they don't know what it was. They don't know if it was a dog man digging up a grave by the headstone. That no one would get close enough to even get a good visual of it. The video, we've told, it's a dark figure. You could see it, but I know what she's talking about. I don't know if anybody else has seen it on here. It's kneeling down and it's digging right near a headstone. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it. You could see it plain as day.
Oops.
Yeah.
Hold on. in the middle of something. Sorry.
Oh,
John's got another story if he wants to go ahead and jump in.
All right, let me look it up here. All right. In fact, the beginning of it. Idaho, Minidoka description, 2013. I wasn't there, but my son-in-law, and their friends saw a Dogman. My son called me all freaked out that they had seen a Bigfoot because he knows I believe in Bigfoot. Now, my son always made fun of me for believing in Bigfoots. He asked me, Dad, can Bigfoots run on all fours? I said, yes. Why do you ask? And he said, Dad, we just saw one while out spotlighting rabbits.
Rablets?
Yeah.
Damn rablets.
Yeah, damn things. I asked him to describe what it looked like, and he said they were hunting rabbits with a spotlight, and he saw something hunched over. He said he then yelled at the others and let them know that he had seen something, and then started to shine his light on it. At first, he thought it was a large bird, because it was down like it was eating something. Then it stood up on its hind legs and spread its arms out wide, and when other two came to look at it, it dropped down and took off faster than anything they had ever seen before. He said it had a dog snout and it was covered in fur, but you could see it was very muscular. My son is 6'2", and he felt it stood as tall or taller than him. When it took off, they ran after it and watched it jump and clear a huge rock pile in one leap, like nothing.
sorry.
That scared them, and they all ran back to the car to get out of there. I spoke to all three, and they all had the same story and described it the same way. I told my son that's not a Bigfoot because Bigfoots don't have dog snouts. I told him, you saw a Dogman. It's funny that this happened around a lot of cornfields. Maybe there was coffee there too. The area also had caves that was covered in sagebrush. Bigfoots. They're having, quiet. Wablets.
We quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
You're crazy.
We broke Doc.
Hey, Doc, you got a bald spot there, bud.
Just from putting up with us.
Thanks for noticing.
Don't worry, Doc. It'll get any better.
I know. I got one too back here. Just from the headboard, you know.
You're crazy. You guys are nuts. DA put up, and I had to mute the mic. I was laughing so hard. Wablets. It's a cross between a rabbit and a jackalope.
Hey, crazy rabbit. Oh, good enough. Wait that.
David Bice says, DA, will you have patches for Lexington? Yes, I will. I will have Wild Hunt patches, and he's in the chat tonight. His name's Norman Meredith. He's been helping me design this new sci-fi series called Man's Marauders, and we are working on another patch that I'm going to get with Doc, and so I can get his patch guy to make these for me. I'm going to buy a bunch of these to take these to conventions as well. Let me find the picture. Here it is.
Oh, where's that?
So not only will we have the Codename Wild Hunt Team Odin patches, I'm going to buy a bunch of these to bring
I
to.
like that. That is nice. That's badass.
I like it.
Oh, I like that.
That is nice.
Yeah, I want to get that done in PVC. I don't know if you guys have seen the Codename Wild Hunt patches, but Doc there has a buddy that makes all the Dark Angel patches, and we took these with us to the conference, at the Dogman conference, and they were quite popular.
Yeah,
So these are what we're gonna do is I was originally planning on putting these on the website, but I think what we're going to do, the wife had a great idea. We're going to do patches as convention exclusives because we have got a bunch of conventions booked. So I'm going to try to get this Man's Marauder patch done, And then the other patch behind that will be, if I get my stupid computer to scroll up, will be this patch for right here. So I'm hoping to have 3 patches on the table within
That's
the next
cool.
6 months.
Did Robbie show you what he's making me for the backdrop?
Huh?
Robbie,
Yeah,
show him what you're making for me for the backdrop, Robbie. If you can.
Hang on, Doc. I sent it to you.
All right.
And Doc's got his being made too.
You always get one of these if you can.
That medical kit.
Hell
Yep.
yeah. Get like 2 or 3 of them.
There you go.
Facebook user. I'm not sure because of Facebook. We're going to do them as convention exclusives. We were selling them for 10 apiece, and they were quite popular at the convention. But I still have plenty left.
For you, $15.99 with the purchase of one of
need
his
to-
books.
I need to order a bunch more because we were astounded at how popular they were.
And I remember when you texted me, you're like, "Man, I'm selling out of everything." I was like,
We sold
wow.
a hell of a lot of books.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
That's
All right,
great.
I sent it to you, Doc.
Okay.
But I don't know if any of y'all follow me on Facebook, but I got a picture I want to show you guys. Let me pull it up real fast. It's
Hey, Linda from Louisiana. Thank you for
that's
joining.
Good, Robbie.
You like it, Doc?
Yeah, that looks good, brother.
Was that the one you made?
Kind of show people what we're going to do. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, hang on
Doc and
just.
Nancy have already seen it.
I'm looking for another picture real fast, and then I'll put that up. I know I've got it on here somewhere.
I'll send DA my picture because I can't do it on my computer because I didn't switch over to Facebook on this. So I'll let him post it. But Robbie makes some really cool stuff, people. If you need anything made, get in touch with him with the woodwork.
Oh, yeah. He's
Lone
It's
Wolf
crazy.
Customs.
pretty handy. You all right there, Doc?
Yeah, just tired, man. Long few days.
How was Texas?
Hot and humid.
Yeah. Come on down here. We'll show you what it's like.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's the same here, man.
I got a 14-hour drive back home tomorrow.
Yeah, Robbie's only Robbie's close to me. We looked it up the other day. Me and him were talking. He's not that far from me.
8.5 hours, something like that. I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the way me and John drive, we'll be there in about 6. But yeah,
That's it. Yep.
yeah,
You go to back roads, you get there quicker.
yeah.
I know a lot of those back roads.
Okay, found the picture I was looking for. Sorry, it took me a minute. After we did the Dogman convention, we were doing the inventory of the remaining books we had, and I had my son take this picture, and the reality kind of set in on me. Looking back, I know all the books that I've put out over the last 10 years, but it just didn't seem real to me until I saw them all in the same place.
I like that picture. I saw that when you put it on.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I
me
love
too.
that.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I'm like, oh my God. My son's like, Dad, you wrote all of these. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It doesn't really hit you until you've got physical copies laying in front of you. I'm just so honored that everybody's been along on this journey. That I've had so much encouragement and support from everybody that stood by me through all of these books, and hopefully many, many more to come. But I
Yeah.
just,
You're just such a good writer. You can't, how can anybody say anything bad?
They
thank you,
can't.
John.
They
Yeah,
can't.
really, it's very captivating. I enjoy every bit of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for my uncle to read. Yeah, he's like, who's the dude in the cowboy hat?
That's my son Noah. Smart ass.
Oh, is that Noah? Oh, I didn't know. Sorry,
Ah,
guys.
Noah.
Yeah,
I was having some mean thoughts about
it
you.
looks
I'm
like his
sorry.
mother. Yeah.
I was having mean thoughts about you, Noah. I'm sorry. I was going to say something, but no, I apologize.
Nighthawk says, William Nighthawk says, DA, you should do a patch for each book or series to sell with the books. That's
I
actually
agree.
been talked about. That's actually being talked about. So
Good
that
idea.
might be happening. We've actually got another set of patches in the works to go with the Man's Marauders. And again, I'll show that picture again of the Man's Marauder one. This is the actual unit patch for the Marauders, but there's a character in the series named Yim, and he's a Bigfoot type creature as one of the characters, and he has a catchphrase that just seemed to take on a life of its own. So there's going to be patches for that as well.
Linda says she loves your books, DA.
Thank you so much. Noah, if you want to boot up my laptop, you could probably jump in.
Yeah, Noah. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Get in here.
Yeah,
This
Noah.
computer is
Come on,
still
Noah.
on the
Everybody,
fritz,
come on, Noah.
Oh, it's still messed up?
Yeah, he's having trouble with the graphics card. He had to ship it back to the manufacturer twice.
Jesus.
That's not cool.
Let's see.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. Thank you for that. But we didn't end up winning anything with that with a ticket. I appreciate you dropping that off though. But even if I'd have won my luck, I probably would have won my own book back. Anyway, let me get that image off there.
Yeah, did you get the image I sent you that Robbie did for the backdrop? I sent you on Messenger.
Let me get over to Messenger. I don't see an image, dude.
Yeah, I just sent it to you on Messenger.
It's
That's
not
weird.
showing up.
That's weird. Well, I got it here.
There it is. It just now showed up.
Okay.
All right, let me get that loaded, and I'll show that off too. Robbie, you want to tell everybody about these and what you do?
I started a company, my daughter and I, and it's called Lone Wolf Customs. And I've got a CNC machine, which is what you see back here behind me in the shop. We do custom woodworking. She's got a Cricut, and she does vinyl graphics. So we kind of merged both of those. And Doc and Anthony and I were talking, and I wanted to do something for them. I'm doing one for him too, and we're all gonna have these behind us, I think, in our respective camera views. Just kind of team thing, but I've got if I can find a picture of it on the internet and I can turn it into an SVG file, I can put it on a piece of wood.
I got some stuff for your daughter if she needs it. I used to have a vinyl company. John will tell you. I had some nice rolling machines and stuff, but I still have the fonts on CD. If she wants them, I'll send them. I'll ship them to you, Robbie.
I'm sure she would be more than happy. I've got stuff hung all around in the shop that I've done that I can't move the camera around obviously to show, but just it started off as I made a flag for my brother when he got promoted to major, and it was a big American flag. And I cut out the gold oak leaf and had the machine carve in major constants on it. And it just kind of started off as just a little pastime hobby, and it kind of grew a little bit. I mean, and COVID hit, and obviously that kind of stopped it a little bit. But there's
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to look badass behind me when I hang it. That's going to be nice.
Derek Buckle says, what's the timeline on Man's Marauders being published? It broke 40,000 words earlier today. So I'm hoping, I'll keep my fingers crossed, I'm hoping to have some publication release information in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's right. Doc is right. I didn't catch that, but Doc did.
Catch what?
Look in the private messenger.
Oh. I'll get that taken care of.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until he said something. I'm like, oh, okay.
I got your back, bro. Got your back.
Thanks, man. Let me send that on.
Noah says he's not going to join. His Audible sucks. He says when he gets up and running, he'll be back in running. He'll come on.
All right, Noah.
I still want to get with him to put together that cookbook. Me and him, we were talking about that the last time a while back.
Yeah, I know. Squatch meat. You got to figure out how to tenderize it.
Yeah. Who else? Let's see.
Wake up, Doc.
Man,
He's tired. You can see it.
my ass is dragging my tracks out.
Well,
I've been that way. Do you need to go to bed, or you want to do that one of the
I'll do
story I
that
sent
story,
you?
man. I'll hang in if the podcast is done, brother.
All right, brother.
I ain't going to leave y'all hanging. Let me ask the audience, too, in the chat, how many of y'all have read the latest Apex Predator book that DA published in June? It came out June 28th, I believe is what it was.
Dark Moon.
Yeah, it's called Dark Moon. Y'all need to read it. If you hadn't read the Apex Predator series, if you hadn't read the Lakeview Man series, if you hadn't read the Wild Hunt series, if you hadn't read the Ragnarok series, you need to read them. I read it when he sent it to me the first time, and then I downloaded it on Kindle, and I read it again, man. It is freaking awesome.
Yes,
Hope y'all loved it as much as I did, man. I tell DA I have to ration myself and just do little bits at a time, or I'll get pissed at myself because I'll be done with the book. So, little plug, shameless plug for him.
Well, thank you, brother.
I'm the same way. I get into a book, I'm just like I'm in it, you know.
I know, man. I know.
Or you can't get out of it.
I know. It'll suck you right in, man. It's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Y'all definitely need to wait, and it'll make you, as they say down south, you'll get the fiending for the next book.
well, like I said, he is the
Emotional roller coaster.
right. He is the Tom Clancy of cryptid. Like
Absolutely,
I said.
brother. I've said that many times, man. I agree.
I like this. This is
He
funny.
makes books for life.
I
That's
like
a good
that.
one.
That cracks me up.
Yeah.
You can put that on top of one of your books.
Yeah.
Lay's or Frito-Lay will sue the hell out of you.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
will. I'll get an ugly cease and desist letter.
Yeah,
pretty
you
fast.
will. Yeah, you will. All right.
Yeah, like
Josh, Doc, go ahead.
Dude, I was doing that today.
I'll spit it out eventually.
When I was teaching class. All right, here we go, y'all. Pay attention. Idaho,
Quizzy.
Ada County. Yeah, there may be a test after this. February 2008. I saw a Dogman walking along the Greenbelt in Boise, Idaho, and to be more specific, the area would be Garden City. The actual location on the Greenbelt would be the area of the Greenbelt that is just on the other side of Veterans Parkway Bridge. Damn, that's pretty specific. I can probably Google map that crap. For those not familiar with the area, the Boise River flows through downtown Boise and Garden City. The Greenbelt is a walking/biking pathway that is paved that goes right next to the river. It was 3:15 a.m. in February 2008, and I was scraping the ice off my car window. I had to be at work at 4 a.m. I realized that it was eerily quiet, so I looked up and I saw it walking along the Greenbelt towards Veterans Parkway Bridge. Let me back up. I saw it walking along the Greenbelt towards Veterans Parkway Bridge. The bridge goes over the Boise River, and the Greenbelt pathway goes under the bridge. It was tall. I guess it was over 7 feet. It turned its head and looked at me. It had green neon-colored eyes, and I said out loud, "Oh, my God." It turned its head back and continued walking along the Greenbelt. It was walking slowly, and I was frozen with fear and didn't move until I saw it vanish behind the building that is next to the Veterans Parkway Bridge. I assumed that it continued along the Greenbelt under the bridge. It had dark brown fur all over its body, pointed ears, a long snout, weird legs, and a tail. I got a pretty good look at it. That section of the greenbelt is at the end of a dead-end street that has a couple of businesses there with parking lots that are all lit up with street lights. I only saw it that one time. End. That was a short one right there. But I mean, dogmen in urban areas. Any stories? Any other encounters in urban areas? That's what I'm wondering about, because that seems like that's a pretty populous area.
I read about one in actual downtown LA that they claimed it had been coming in through the LA River, but I can't find the account again. I read it somewhere and I completely lost it. I don't know where it was.
I read it too. Somebody seen it going into a dumpster in an alleyway.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It seems like a few of the encounters we read over the past couple of weeks, or some of them were in maybe not like big city area, but more of a
Well,
the most of accounts I've heard of things coming into town were more Bigfoot than Dogman.
right.
I don't see why Dogman wouldn't either. I mean, there's a town in Oklahoma that was supposedly getting terrorized by Bigfoot coming into town and raiding trash cans at night.
Mm-hmm. Well, that guy Scott that's here in Florida that was supposed to be on the show, he's in the neighborhood. And the only way it's getting to his property is through a creek bed. It's traveling down a creek bed. And they're in a neighborhood. There's houses around them, and so they are coming in.
I mean, why do you think they're coming in urban areas? Food sources. I mean, because we were talking about that with the Sam Squanch, the Bigfeets, about coming into the urban areas and raiding stuff. Because I mean, just like bears. I mean, let's look at bears and big cats and things like that up in Boulder. Hell, they come into town all the time from out of the foothills.
Yeah.
And so they're out there getting into trash cans and dumpsters and all that kind of stuff. So I think that lends credence to the theory that they're going to come in where food is easy and plentiful.
A lot of it's dog food. They said a lot of the people get dog food stolen out of their for their dogs that are staying outside. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. Well,
user, I think this is Louis Noriega. I think he says it's because all the fires you've been having up in Northern California, all the Bigfoot and Dogmen are starting to come south. Mainly the Bigfoots there in San Gabriel Mountains now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they're just like any other animal. They're gonna get out of that area that's been deforested, and get out in those areas where even if it's urban, they can still hide. But the food thing is what gets me, and I think that's probably what they're doing to come down there. And that's the reason, like you see in these areas where there's a high concentration of those sightings, people are losing Fifi, their little poodle, or Muffins the cat, and because they're letting them out, and they're a freaking Scooby snack for those cats.
Well, a lot of things have been crazy. Even the attacks on people with alligators here in Florida have gone through the roof. I've been seeing a lot of that on the news. Which would never happen in the past. You get in a lake and there's a gator, it would take off the other way. It wouldn't bother you, and it's not mating season, so that's it's been.
There's other animal attacks on the rise. There was just a story from the news from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There were 2 people bit by bull sharks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the same day, was it not?
Yeah, same day.
Yeah, I saw that.
I guess the older lady almost lost her arm.
Yeah, well, there was a former PJ down in Florida. Did y'all see that story? He was out swimming and literally ran into, or they collided, him and a 12-foot gator.
Yeah.
That boy made it out alive. I mean, that's a lucky.
Seen that one. I've seen that one.
All that aggressive.
They caught it on a drone.
Yeah, is that the one that had his head bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that. It was over here. It was out in, I believe, the Tampa Bay area, around there.
Yeah.
Well, not long ago, there was I think it was like a 10-foot gator come up out on one of the beaches in Myrtle Beach, come up out of the surf, crawled up on the beach.
Yeah, they're getting where they're crossing into the salt water down here, especially over by Rodman.
Yeah,
they're going out through the Brackish Canal, turning into salt, and then they seen them on the beach. Yeah. What is that one there I heard about a week ago up there by Manning, South Carolina, Robbie, where that guy said he saw a Dogman walking with an 8-foot gator up under his arm?
I didn't hear that one. I need to look into that one.
Yeah, he said that gator looked like a suitcase. It was, that's how big this boogie was.
Well, I guess if a Dogman had a hold of him, he probably was a suitcase by that point.
Yeah, or a new pair of shoes. Right?
Yeah. Holy crap, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Joshua Dixon, I said the same thing, man. Well, he said, well, duh. Who swims in the lake in Florida? I mean,
I do.
Well, let me tell you, I've been hunting out, and I got to say this because I've experienced it. They are more scared of you than you are of them. They will not bother you. Right.
Yeah, they'll run the other way.
Unless it's mating season. Then
If it's mating season, do not go in the swamp. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Derek Buckles had a good question. He said, people talk about quietness when Bigfoot and Dogmen are around. Is it possible that cryptids are suppressing sound near them, or it's possible intended victims? I think it's just large predators in the area.
Yeah,
I've seen it go dead quiet with a mountain lion in the area. It's just large predators tend to, all the littler things tend to scurry for cover when the big boys come out to play.
Oh,
yeah. Johnny Willis said the same thing. She said, I think they all go silent because they sense a huge predator. And, that's like the king predator, the apex predator, and everything just kind of settles down to see what's happening.
Yeah. That's textbook what happens when a big predator's around.
Very much so, yes.
You swimming crystal clear springs. Well, here in the springs, there are gators. And you swim with them here in the springs, and they don't bother you. Especially Silver Springs and Alexander Springs. I've been there where there's gators maybe 5 foot away, and there's a bunch of people in the water. They don't bother you.
Yeah, not too long ago, Angie went to, I think it's Ponce de Leon Springs.
Yeah.
And her and our daughters and the grandbabies and everything went out there, and they were swimming out there in that water. She said, it's crystal clear.
Yeah.
And she said, there was nothing out there. She said, I'm sure there were gators there, but there were tons of people there, and nobody got messed with.
Right.
Now, they don't bother you. They don't really bother you. They go the other way, unless it's like mating season. Then then all bets are off.
Yeah, they don't stay away. Absolutely.
Unless you jump on them or scare them or something like that. We used to take them out of the canal, little 2-3 footers, and race them on the highway until Mama come out and got mad.
Most attacks are in like murky water anyway, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, mercy! That was a good story.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It was.
Had a question. Actually, it was just a comment. Where was it at? Let me jump too far away. Give me a second.
Yeah, we live by Silver Springs. We're about 10 minutes away from Silver Springs, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's more than 10, but.
Well, yeah. And then Crystal River's about maybe 40-minute drive for us. Yeah.
40 minutes, 50 minutes, something like that.
And now I don't
Anthony, how far are y'all from Melbourne?
Oh,
about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah,
okay.
Not bad.
That's where I'm going to be in October.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're going to get Frog Bone.
Yeah, at Frog Bones.
Yeah, we're going to meet you there. So.
We're going there, man. So.
Awesome.
Little Patty said, hey, DA, did you get my email subject Bigfoot? I wanted to address that real quick. Yes, I apologize. I completely forgot to answer that email. It's been kind of nuts around here like the last week. But I check your email. I just sent that out to you. So hopefully you should have that now. And again, I apologize. I completely forgot to email you back. Looking to see if there are any other questions.
Hooter Transport's on. Hey, Hooter.
Hey, Hooter.
Hey, Hooter. I'm a little slap happy right now. Sorry, y'all.
Facebook user says he's interested in talking to anyone that's seen or came into contact with a Bigfoot on his talk show. Unfortunately, we don't know who to address that to because the Facebook's weird Facebook stuff. It's you just go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and you can authorize it so we can see who you are. But at the moment, we can't see what your name is. I apologize. Little Patty says, "What happened to your my Kojak hat? My Kolchak hat? I was wearing it early on, and everybody asked me to switch to the cowboy hat, so it's right here."
My cousin's hat. Yeah. Good old Darren.
I guess I'm up on the next story.
Oh.
Robbie, I'll take this one because it's War and Peace with Dogman.
He's saving a long one for you, Robbie.
It's about 3 pages long, so
Okay.
I'll take it.
6.
Yeah, the one after that I'm going to send to you, I don't know how long it is. It could be 6 paragraphs. It could be 6 pages. There we go. Alabama, Walker County. In 1969, I was 9 years old and lived about a half a mile down the road from an old church and cemetery. There were 2 other old houses there no one lived in. There were strange things happening quite often around where we lived back then. I remember one of the strange things that happened very well. My dad worked evenings from 3 p.m. until 11 p.m., just 3 miles down the road from our house. My mom, sister, and I had just gone to bed when we started to hear a bumping sound on the back of the house. My sister and I ran from the bedroom we shared in the back of the house to the front of the house where Mom and Dad's bedroom was. My sister and I were scared, so Mom let us sleep with her until Dad came home at 11. Their bedroom had 2 windows side by side on the front of the house above the porch. You could see through the curtains at night due to the street light out front. We were lying there after not hearing any more noise when all of a sudden we heard something on the front porch. Mom saw it first and sat up in bed. That made my sister and I notice her staring out the window. When we turned our gaze from Mom to the window, we saw what looked like a very large dog on the front porch. It was walking to the front door upright on its back legs. When it reached the front door, it shook it violently. It was as tall as the door, and we could see it scratching at the screen door with its front paws. It remained there for what seemed like 15 minutes, but was probably only about a minute or 2. Mom didn't say a word for the first minute. She just shushed us until it turned and walked about 10 feet to the steps on its back legs. Just before it reached the steps and went down them, it went down on all 4 legs. Mom told us to go back to sleep, and we eventually did. I don't remember her telling my dad, but I do remember this well. It was about 6 to 6.5 feet tall while standing upright on its back legs. You could see all of its facial features, its ears, snout, and head. Those features made it resemble a German shepherd. We hadn't seen anything that looked or acted like that thing in the area before that night. A lot of strange things happened there. I can't say it was a Dogman, but it did walk on its back legs for several feet. Another time when I was young, my sister, who I shared the back bedroom with at the time, was at our grandma's house spending the night. I'd gone to bed but wasn't asleep yet. Mom had my bedroom window open so air could get in. It was hot that night. The back of our house was high off the ground. Consequently, the bottom of my bedroom window was about 8 feet off the ground. I'd been lying there on my back when I rolled over onto my stomach toward the window. My foot went off the bed on the window side and wound up being only a few inches from the window. All of a sudden, something touched my foot. I don't remember if it grabbed my foot or what, but the screen ripped, the curtain fell, and I scrambled off the bed and out of my bedroom into the living room where my mom was. She heard the commotion and saw that I was frightened. She asked me what was wrong, so I told her what had happened. She went into my bedroom and saw the hole in the screen and that the curtain was down. She also saw how it was hanging halfway out of the window. She didn't know what to think, so she called Dad home from work. He came home to check it out and walked around the house before coming in. He said he hadn't seen anything. At first, he didn't believe Mom. It wasn't until he saw that curtain was hanging out the window that he believed her. He couldn't figure it out. We didn't have any problems with prowlers. At first, I thought I'd stuck my foot through the screen, but I don't think that's what happened because I wasn't sleeping yet. I just couldn't have done that.
Huh.
Wow.
Okay.
You know, that worries me because when I was a kid growing up on the farm, we didn't have central heat and air.
No.
We slept with our windows open all the time.
Yeah,
No,
we
you
didn't
know
have screens in Pennsylvania. We didn't have screens in the window. Just open them up.
Yeah, I
Same
think a lot
thing
of us
here.
grew up like that. That's the way it was around here too.
Well, same thing up in New York. We didn't have central heat in there.
Yeah.
My grandparents had a furnace in their house up until that house got sold.
How would you like to be shoveling coal in a coal furnace? I did it.
I did it.
It's bad
I
enough
did
burning wood.
Mhm.
I wouldn't Just saying. I'm just saying.
I did it in the wintertime when my dad was working. I'd go down in the basement and shovel coal, and the truck would back up and throw coal into the coal chute, man. That was crazy until we switched it over to oil.
Oh yeah.
We cut and stacked wood all summer and then burned wood all winter, but we didn't have central heat and air until I was well into high school.
Yeah. And then we had window units. We had one window unit in the house, and everybody slept in my mom and dad's room in the summertime when it got hot.
Man,
We never had air.
our daddy didn't grow air either. I mean, hell, he didn't get electricity till he was 18 years old before he went to Korea. And when me and my brothers grew up, my middle brother Keith is on right now. He's listening. And Daddy used to keep the house at like 78 degrees in southern Mississippi. And when we had AC, and to him that was cool, but we was in there about to go on a freaking fishing quest in our damn bedrooms, because it was hot.
Yeah, these kids you guys have no idea about heat and air and
No, I mean my grandma. When I go see my grandma and grandpa down in Picayune, down in the Pearl River, they lived down in the Pearl River swamps, and they didn't have air. I mean, she had a box fan in her window, and she'd be sleeping under quilts, like 16 pounds of damn quilts in the summertime. I'd be laying by the fan, going, "Oh, please, dear Jesus, have some air,"
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
We used to have those little ones that you put in that had the two fans in it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to put those in our windows, and that was what we had.
Letitia Nunnally says, DA, I'd like to ask for prayers for our good friend Linda Godfrey. Linda Godfrey is the godmother of the Dogman phenomenon. She's the one that first broke the story years and years ago of the Beast of Bray Road. Really super nice lady. I hear she's having a lot of health issues, so y'all just keep her in your thoughts. I don't know exactly what it is. I have not actually been told. I just know she's in very poor health. She stopped doing publishing. She stopped doing public appearances, and she's dealing with some pretty serious health issues. So just
We'll remember some prayers for her. Noah brought up a good point there, DA. Keep in mind that dogs are digitigrade, so when hunting they tend to squat lower. So 6 to 7 feet tall could have easily been around 8 to 9 feet in actuality. When they're
got a good point.
That's a really good point.
We've got a picture somewhere. I'd like to find it. I need to put it on, show everybody of our bull mastiff, and he was about $140 when he was in his prime. And I was standing in one of my uniform pictures. I was getting ready for work, and he jumped up and put his paws on my shoulder, and he was leaned forward at about a 45-degree angle and looking me in the face. If he'd have stood up on just completely upright on his hind legs, he'd have probably been 7 feet tall. He was a big dog.
Oh yeah.
I had a Great Dane that was like that. It could stand up, put his shoulder or front paws on my shoulder, and it was taller than me.
Yeah, dogs can get pretty big. But then again, if you'd have looked at him straight on, he'd have looked like an emaciated dog, man. He'd have been pretty thin. But he would have easily been 7 foot tall just on his own.
That's a big dog.
He is a big dog.
Yeah.
I miss that big goofball.
Oh yeah. My daughter had one we called Hercules. It was 165 pounds. Yeah, it was 165 pounds and huge. She put a bathtub in the backyard. He buried it.
Name of the dog in Sandlot was a bull mastiff. Hercules.
Yeah.
No, it was an English Mastiff. When I had one of them too.
Okay.
It was like the big red dog. He was red.
My English was probably $180 in his prime, maybe $190.
Damn.
He big dog.
That's a big boy. You got a story for me, man?
Oh, did I not send you one?
Negatory.
Let me find it. Hang on.
Yeah, we'll be praying for Linda, man. That's a hard thing. That's
she's in the show. She's right here. She said, "Thank you all." She's been listening. So yes, prayers.
Yeah, definitely.
Thought I sent that one to somebody.
Didn't come to me.
Last one I got is the one from Idaho, Hater Country.
Jefferson, Tennessee. I think it just came in.
That's yours.
Oh, I know where Jefferson is. That's where my buddy lives.
All right, then I guess Robbie, that one's yours. Doc,
All
I'll
right.
send you the next one.
Okay, then.
All right, then.
All right, then.
Robbie, go ahead.
Just a short one, 8 or 9 pages.
Dan, here we go. Tennessee, Jefferson County. Description: 2012. I'd like to tell you about the encounter my son had maybe 4 years ago. He told me about it then, but I had no clue. Now we have Dogman encounters. Now I know. Here's what happened. My son's friend was driving him home about 11 p.m. through a rural residential area. The houses are spaced some distance apart. They were on a 2-lane highway with no street lights and very little traffic. The area is not overly wooded, but has patches of trees and fields. This area would probably be included in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. Anyway, they were driving along when suddenly from the right side of the road, this thing sprang out and was across the road and into the bushes on the other side in 2 leaps or bounds or steps or however you want to say it. It was in full view because of their headlights. My son said the first thing he thought was dog. He went on to say that it was running on all fours like a deer. He said it was the color of a deer with a huge dog head, massive shoulders, and a really small waist. He kept repeating how big it was, so I asked for a comparison. I asked him if he... Does this seem familiar to anybody else?
Yeah, it does. The one the girl hit the going with her car.
It sounds. I think we've read this one before. I'm gonna keep on
Maybe
going.
I copied it again.
I'm getting a little deja vu.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and finish it, man.
I'll finish it. Shoulders really repeating how big it was, so I asked for comparison. I asked if he meant huge, like maybe a big deer. Was it maybe as tall as a cow? He answered, and I can quote his answer: "Mom, this thing was massive. If we'd hit it with a car, we would have gone underneath it, and his body would have hit the windshield. I don't remember what kind of car it was, but it was about the size and shape of those older Sentras." He said that neither he or his friend said anything for about 10 seconds, and then his friend yelled, "Did you see that?" My son said, "Yes." They didn't say another word the rest of the way home, and that's it. It's really creepy to me, and I thought other listeners might like to hear about it. And that's it.
Well, that sounds awful familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of. Maybe I might have copied that one again. I try not to share the same one again, but if so, I apologize.
It maybe not. It just kind
Or
of
maybe very similar to another story. But sometimes encounter stories are very similar, especially when people are talking about seeing one from the road.
just the driving underneath it with the car. That really sounded familiar.
Yeah. Well, it may very well be. If so, I apologize.
No big deal.
It was a short one. I ain't complaining.
Carrie, you want to jump on the next one?
Audio's off.
Yeah, I said, let's get it, man. I'll do it like a duck on a June bug. Here we go.
Awesome.
Here we go. Holy Nikes. All right. Indiana, New Salisbury. Contrary to what some may believe, this report was not submitted because it's October. A few years ago, a parent at the school in which I teach informed me about her coworker who had a possible Bigfoot sighting. Being a Bigfoot skeptic, she was reluctant to tell me, which is often the case, right? However, in this case, she felt compelled to tell me about her coworker's encounter because she explained to me that she is a highly intelligent, no-nonsense, straightforward person who would never make up such a story. After a year of miscommunication trying to obtain the name and number, I gave up. Fortunately, last week when I spoke to this parent over the phone regarding her son's grades, she mentioned to me that she found the phone number. And I immediately called him that evening to set up an interview. We met him at his home on October 9th, 2013 at 4:30 p.m. He's worked as a registered nurse, male nurse, for 7 years and a chiropractor for 23 years, which will prove very significant in this unique Bigfoot sighting. He saw the creature twice within a 2-week period. During the first encounter, he was driving home at 11:30 p.m. As he approached his house only a few houses down in the street, he observed a large animal on all fours run across the road directly in front of his car. It had dark brown, rusty-colored, matted fur, short snout, small pointed ears on the side of his head, and it was much larger than a large dog. The high of his back was as high as a standard kitchen table. The front shoulders were considerably wider than the hips, and it galloped when it ran, bringing the front 2 legs and arms up at the same time than the rear 2 legs. It crossed the road very quickly. Needless to say, he thought this creature was very odd, especially when he saw it again a few weeks later, walking on 2 legs. Now, his second encounter occurred at 6:30 a.m. just after sunrise. He was inside his home when he looked out his window and noticed a hairy, bipedal figure estimated at 6'3" with a very unusual gait walking down the street. He had a clear, close view of the creature as it walked parallel to his home, only about 30 feet from his windows, although sunrise was on the direct opposite side of the creature. After watching it from his windows, he ran outside to continue viewing this peculiar creature. When he didn't immediately see it, he walked to the street and eventually saw it about 100 feet from its original location, walking away from him on all fours. It turned and looked back at him, and that's when he realized this was the same creature he witnessed a few weeks earlier that darted in front of his car. It did not have a bulky, muscular build, but instead more of a normal uniform build for its height. Based on his years of experience in the medical field, he estimated its weight at about 200 pounds. The arms were slightly longer than the humans, and the head was proportionate to its body. The hair was short, maybe about an only inch, matted and uniform in length and color throughout. Interesting notes. When it was walking upright, it leaned forward. It did not walk heel to toe, more on the ball of its feet. The lower legs had a slight backward curve to them, and it had a slight bounce to its step. It had about a 3 to 4 inch snout and small pointed ears on the side of its head. Muy interesante.
I agree.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big one. You think that could have been a juvenile if that's what it was?
Mhm.
It kind of sounds like it. It didn't have the size, the bulk. Yeah.
No. Well, we got 113 people. Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Thoughts
Right,
from the panel? Thoughts from the panel? Concerns? Confusion?
No.
Anyone? Bueller?
No.
Did it say? I must have been. Did it say it was walking or running? Or,
Originally, it was running on all fours, and then when they
Okay.
saw it again, it was upright that morning, and it was walking on its legs, approximately 6'3", 200 pounds, which seems to be pretty slim. It didn't look like it was too bulky. So they said everything was proportionate to its body, so it was not overtly, yoked out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not uncommon.
yeah, probably juvenile
Running on
adolescent,
four,
something like
then
that.
they went to. It might have been a juvenile.
Yeah. Interesting.
To quote Doc, like 6'3", that's a big youngin.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But the reports of being a lot bigger.
Yeah, they are.
And the way they said, walking on the balls of its feet with the legs kind of backward, that's kind of indicative of a canid type, anatomical configuration there.
Yep. And
Yes.
I've noticed it on a couple of stories tonight that popping. Somebody said
The
when it
popping
stood
sound
up.
before they stand up.
Yep, back to what you were talking about earlier, DA. About that morphing.
Yeah, I think that to reconfigure the way the morphology of their hands.
The joints coming undone to them.
Which could explain like that gigantic wolf that was killed in Montana. They showed it. It covered the entire tailgate of a truck. It was a big wolf. Could explain why they just thought it was a simple wolf if its paws returned to paws. if that's the normal state for them, and they're able to like extend them to use them like fingers. It might be just a genetic adaptation. I mean,
Yeah.
just
And I don't know if we've talked about it here or if I've heard it somewhere else. You know, the fact that they do go on all fours a lot is more like to appear as a wolf rather than that, just to keep a low profile, I guess. Better way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Noah says he feels. Meanwhile, I feel short at 6 foot. Noah put.
Bless your heart, Noah. Welcome to my 5 foot 6 inch world, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Right there with you, Doc. I'm only 5'9".
Right there.
No, I used to be 6 foot. Now I'm 5'8". So
I was never 6 foot, Uncle John. I've always been short. So
you jump out of enough helicopters, you get short.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I'm saying, Uncle John. I was almost 5'7", and my brothers are taking X-rays before I went, and I started working, doing airborne stuff, and it's funny because now they're like, yeah, you got some serious disc compression.
Oh yeah. It works out that way. Trust me.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
People don't realize that. People don't believe in that, but you do get. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, the VA says it's not service connected though.
Of course. Yeah, of course not.
well,
No.
I truly believe, and DA, you probably speak on this too. Riding around in a patrol car for 12 hours, it will compress your spine too.
Oh,
Especially with 50, 60 pounds of gear on.
Yep.
Yeah.
My son.
That's why my back's in the shape it's in.
Yeah, you get that bat belt on, man. Look how many cops out there have back problems, and that's why they're going to a lot of those, like y'all are wearing, Robbie. Y'all are wearing those the ones on the own body, the own torso carry versus, and that reduces all that crap around your waist.
Yeah,
it tears your hips back up.
Only thing I got on my waist now is my gun. Everything else is on my vest.
Yeah.
As it should be.
My son-in-law, Danny, he always had the duty belt, and he's always got back problems. Well, he got attacked in the jail one time too, and that hurt his back. But
yeah.
Well, and DA, you know this too. You know, back when we first started, back you had all the old leather gear, and that was a good 80 pounds worth of equipment.
Yep. Yes, it was.
And then they made it drastically lighter, about 60 pounds when it went to the nylon gear.
Yeah, that's what I had. Nylon. I had my nylon gear. I still got it.
But Danny had the leather because we bought it.
Danny used to have the leather. Yeah, he had the basket weave leather. He wore.
Yeah, the old Sam Brown basket weave.
Yeah. And then if you work in a rural spot where backup might be, 30 minutes away, you find yourself carrying extra crap because you can't run to the car to get it.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I was carrying 4 sets of handcuffs.
Oh,
I still carry 3.
I switched over to using hinge cuffs almost exclusively. Though.
Now zip tie. Now they got the new zip ties.
I've got a set of hinge cuffs, and I've got 2 sets of asp cuffs.
I got 2 sets of the asp hinged. I like those a lot.
Yep. Yeah, things can get spicy. You need more cuffs. Who's got the next?
Uncle John's got the last one.
All righty, Ohio. Claremont County description, May 2016. A male employee, approximate age of 62, of a water treatment facility on the east side of the Cincinnati was making a nightly round to drive to a particular tank to open a valve. Driving down a rural road dotted with houses, he sees on his right something standing in front of a garage, lit by a bright overhead light. He put his truck in reverse and backed up to get a better look. Stopping at the foot of the driveway, the creature was standing about where the SUV is parked on the right. Image on the right shows the light pole directly across from the basketball hoop. I was told there is another light that brightly illuminates up near the garage door, but I could not see it from my vantage point. The driveway is about 50 foot long. These images were shot from inside a car, just like the witness would have seen. I blotted out the house and license plate numbers for privacy of the residents. who were not interviewed. I wonder if they have any idea what lurks around our house at night. The witness describes a bizarre creature he estimates to be about the size of a man. It was covered in brown, leathery skin, but had regular animal hair on the head, neck, and chest. He claims a canine head with a long muzzle and pointed ears on top. He reports that the legs were dog-like, but the arms appeared man-like. Interestingly, the creature stood in an unusual pose, liking it to this type of yoga position called intense side stretch. The witness said that instead of forming a V shape as in the woman pictured, the creature's legs formed more of a horseshoe shape. If they were canine type legs, one could easily see where this would make sense. The creature's arms hung down in front, but I don't know if it was touching the ground or of its own foot or what. Eerily, the creature did not move, but eyed the witness with just one eye, keeping its head in profile. The witness reports a sort of sneer on the creature's face as to say, "You see me, don't you?" He said the overall feeling about this creature was that it was bad news. He and the creature stared at each other for about a minute, with the creature remaining in place, just looking at him. At length, the witness drove off to attend to his duty up the road. When he returned about 8 minutes later, the creature was gone. I was taken to the water tank employees must attend every morning at 4 a.m. As the crow flies, this tank is only about 100 yards from where the sighting took place. This is where the witness was headed at the time of the sighting. The employee comes out here alone each morning at 4 a.m., drives up to the lock gate and opens it, and then walks into the enclosure and opens a valve on this tank. On the right side of the driveway is a dense hedge of trees and honeysuckle. On the other side of that hedge is a small field with outbuilding and parking lot. Then the road on the opposite side of it. The house where the sighting took place, on the right-hand side of the tower, is mostly farmland. One is pretty alone in the dark at this tank. My friend noted that going into the gate to the tank isn't bad, but coming back, your headlights are in your face and it's hard to see. From time to time now, prior to the sighting, the witness has been expressing his uneasiness coming to this particular location. He said he always feels like something is watching him. I have been assured that this witness is anything but a coward and is actually a bit of a badass type, but he has long been uncomfortable coming here in the dark. The locations of this tank, the water treatment facility, and the sighting are very near a state park and a wildlife area, a lake and large creek and railroad tracks. Unfortunately, I've yet to get permission from the witness for a direct interview, but I'm still holding out hope. This information comes from my friend who works with the witness. And
That's quite the story.
I wish I saw the pictures he was talking about.
No kidding. But
Yeah.
those weren't part of the submission.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was a pretty good story.
Yeah.
yeah,
Too bad.
just a note to y'all, if y'all do submit a story and you have any kind of photographic evidence you want to submit along with it for us to include with that submission, please do so, because that might help us see what you're talking about.
Exactly. And you can contact us at daroberts@daroberts.net. The email address is going across the bottom. Shoot us an email. We would love to have your encounter on the air. Love to hear your story. If you got pictures you want to show us, we'd like to check them out.
Yeah.
Found a picture while I was looking for something else you guys might get a kick out of.
Look at that handsome fella.
That was the guy in the middle is my old chief. That's Joe Mahan. That's on the right is Rich 2. He's a naturalized British citizen. He's a Greene County Patrol deputy now. It's funny hearing him on the radio. His Manchester accent, and that's a familiar looking bearded weirdo over on the far left. That was my old radio number right there on my cup, 1405. A lady that lived near our area made those cups for us. I've still got mine, but I don't have it with me. It's in my cabinet.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now you scared all the kids.
Well, I'm retired. So.
Sorry.
Ryan William Roll says Sasquatches are around 6-ish to 16 feet, maybe 20 plus. Damn, that would be a big rascal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know about tracking a 20-foot Sasquatch.
Not gonna.
That would have to be up in the deep mountains up in Alaska, because if that was anywhere near town, you'd think somebody would notice something the size of a Volkswagen Beetle walking through the woods.
Yeah.
Even if it's on all fours.
It's like having, the King Kong traveling through the jungle.
Yeah,
Ought to have F-150 on the side,
that's Mighty Joe Young status.
Yeah, that's a big rascal. Yeah.
It's funny you said that, Robbie. I haven't seen that in a long time. I remember the movie that they had out with
Yep.
they have a gorilla about that size that captured back in the 30s. That's where they got that movie and fictional
Mighty
thing.
Joe Young.
Mighty Joe Young. It was huge.
There are occasions when things get giantism, and they just get really big.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, T. Williams said, Fred, his Bigfoot's up there at massive.
Yeah.
They're super
Well,
size.
you get closer to the Arctic Circle, even the bears are much bigger.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crazy big Bigfoot up there. That's the whole. I don't know why, but it's just probably the there's more food source. So
That's probably the case. Let me find what I was going to look for up here. I know I've got it still. There it is. Past it. I try to remind folks, if you are going to be in the area of Lexington, Missouri on the weekend of September 23rd, 24th, the night actually starts the night of the 22nd. It'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. It's called Fall into the Supernatural. If you go to eventbrite.com and just search Fall into the Supernatural, it'll take you right to their page. It's going to be a ghost hunt. We're doing a bonfire out in the woods where there was a Bigfoot sighting not long ago. We're going to see if we can either attract something in or call it in. I'll be hosting that. I'll also have books there, and if you're looking for the patches, I'll have patches there as well. So I hope you guys will if you're interested in this in these paranormal and cryptid conferences, hope we'll see you at Fall into the Supernatural in September. And the following weekend, the last weekend in September, going into the first couple of days of October, I will be at Archon in St. Louis. I'll be signing books and doing panels, and it's going to be a pretty good time. But it's not a cryptid convention. It's a sci-fi fantasy / kind of horror convention. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. But hopefully, if you guys would like to see more of this about Fall into the Supernatural, I think you guys would have a good time, because the Dogman conference we did in Paris, Tennessee this last weekend was fantastic. We had a really good time.
Speaking of that, has anybody heard from Jesus? How's he doing with that? I got an email from him the other day, a text.
He's still posting on Facebook, but I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks. I need to text him and see how he's doing. But there's information on this poster. So if you want information, call or text 636-875-4774. Or you can just go to eventbrite.com and then search Fall into the Supernatural. But I'd love to see you guys there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hi, Dahlia.
Yeah. She's saying hello to everyone. Hey. She said hello to Robbie, everybody, me.
Little Patty says Lexington is a 15-minute drive for me. Well, I hope to see you there. Dang. Wow. Ryan William Roll said in 2006, 2 dudes were hunting together and they killed a 13-foot plus tall bear, and its paw was 19, 20 inches. Good God, that's a big bear.
Yeah. Where was that at?
In Alaska.
Okay.
Ryan William Roll is Fred Roll's cousin.
The one I killed in PA was 9 foot. So.
That's still a big bear. That's bigger than I want to try to wrestle with.
The last time I went bear hunting.
Yeah, that's pretty big. That's a big joker. Sorry.
Yeah, tore my boot off.
What? I mean, how big do grizzlies usually get? About what? 12 foot when they stand up on their hind legs? Or no?
Thereabouts. Maybe a little bit more.
Coastal browns get bigger than the average inland grizzly.
Yeah.
And Kodiaks have been reported at 14, 15 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big old bear.
That's bigger than I want to run into.
That's a fact. That's when you want to make sure you go hunting with somebody you can outrun.
That's right. Shoot them in the kneecap and then haul ass. You know?
You know, that one guy I watched the hunting program. This one guy I watch on YouTube, they were all sitting, I think I sent it to DA. They were hunting elk or caribou out in Kodiak Island, or one of the islands out there, and there was 4 guys all packing. They were bow hunting, but they all had sidearms, and a lot of them had 10 millimeter and 45. It was a 454 Kazul, and they said when they hung the carcass up in the tree that skin it, within 10 minutes, they noticed something coming around the tree, and this thing came at them. It was a bear, and one of the guys rode it down the hill, the mountain, because he jumped on it because he had no other choice. And as he's on it, he's shooting it with the 10 millimeter on the way down. And they estimated the bear to be, when the park ranger came out and the wildlife officer came out, and then they do an autopsy. This thing was like 16 foot.
Jeez Louise.
It was one of the biggest bears I ever recorded. It was on one of his shows. He was telling the story. I was like, oh my God.
That's the guy that rode it, right?
Yeah, he rode it down the mountain. So
that's more man than I ever hoped to be. Holy crap, that's crazy.
He had nowhere else to go. He said everybody else, everybody was sitting in like a half circle. When this thing came out, it charged them, and he had nowhere to go. His pack was a foot away. He didn't even have time to grab his pack where his gun was, and that was the whole thing.
That's a bad day.
And when he jumped on it, as he went by, he grabs the pack, and he's hacked the pack on him, and he's trying to get the gun out of the holster, and he's shooting this thing. And he said it was when they couldn't believe the size of this thing when they came and measured it, but it was crazy. And then when they skinned it, they found 2 rounds in it, one in its skull, on top of its skull that was there for years. Somebody shot it, and the bullet hit and went around the top of the skull to the back and stayed there. And then they found another one in the side of his ribs that didn't even penetrate. It looked like a 9 millimeter. So that was the crazy part.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that. And they showed you some of the video of this bear, man. It was huge. I mean, huge.
That is a big old bear.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the one you ran into, DA. That wasn't no slouch either, the one you ran into. So
I'm telling you, you run into something like that and you're not armed, the only way you're coming out of that forest is this bear scat.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But when you wear bells. Yeah.
And they smell like pepper spray.
Yeah.
And we got some big bears here.
At that point, the only thing you can really do is try and taste bad.
We get some big bears here in Florida. I mean, I've seen them. John's seen them. We have one in the backyard.
Oh,
Come
we got
over
one
the
right
fence.
here in the backyard. Come over my fence with
Big
2
black
cubs.
bear. Yeah. Big sow come over the fence. It's crazy.
She
We're sitting
do
here
it every
watching
night.
TV.
Well, about 4 times we saw her there at 3
Mhm.
o'clock in the morning. We were out there sitting at the screen room watching TV.
Watching TV, and you hear ching ching, and we look over, and this bear's climbing over the fence with the cubs.
Yeah,
Right
maybe
past
30,
us.
30 feet from us.
Looked right at us, kept going. I was like, the hell?
And we went back, went over the back fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Christmas-
one was next to your car in the driveway.
Christmas,
Made you
yeah.
almost shit.
Shit my pants that day. When I walked out to throw the garbage out, it was behind my truck, and I went to go throw it, throw the bag in, and he came around the truck on me. I was like, whoa! I wasn't expecting it. And she had cubs with her. This is the same one. And to get her off the property, she climbed over my no-climb and stood there looking at me on the other side. And I pulled out my 45 and I just popped it into the ground next to her to scare her. And she finally took off. But, yeah, we've had bears all over the place. A couple of weeks ago, there was a bear in the driveway again.
That was last week.
Yeah.
One right there in the ditch.
Yeah. Scared the shit. I looked out. I'm like, what is that? And I looked over and there's a bear walking in the ditch right in front of the house.
Yeah.
So,
That and the wild hogs we got here that are
please.
breaking into people's screen rooms and busting their fences up.
That's the scary animal to run into in the woods.
What, a hog?
Oh yeah.
Nah.
We've seen a bunch of them.
I got a buddy that almost lost his leg.
I used to hunt them with a dog and a knife only. That's it. No
He
handgun.
wasn't out there hunting it though. He just ran up on it.
There was a lady down in Texas. What was it, Doc, in 2019 or 2020 that got knocked down and eaten by wild hogs?
Yeah.
Doc,
My buddy and I were out on the peninsula by the St. John's, and he's a game warden, and we were on horseback bear.
Pig hunting. That's when he got gouged.
We were going along, and I'm up in the front, and my buddy's in the middle, and Ralph is in the back of us, the three of us. And all of a sudden, this boar comes out, probably 250, 300 pounds. They had cutters about 5 inches long. Came out and gored the stomach on his horse. And the horse fell over. Of course, then my buddy's pinned underneath the horse, and he's trying to kick himself free, and this hog's pawing the dirt. So Ralph and I just unlit on it and killed it. But it killed his horse. We had the kid put his horse down from it. But it was hell. I tell you, they can be nasty.
Yeah, they can. They can.
Yeah. Just like DA was saying, that lady in Texas, she was a caregiver. She was in her 60s, and she was a caregiver for a couple in their 80s. And she got out of her car, and the car was only about 30 feet from the front porch. And between her car and the front porch, she got mowed down by a pack of feral hogs, and they killed her and ate her.
Yeah, man.
I would not doubt it.
They'll eat anything.
I've been knocked down by one. I got knocked down by one.
They'll do
it. Right through me. Right through me. It just knocked me on my ass.
Well, when you go to pull one out of the brush, you usually try to pull it backwards, Anthony.
Yeah. I'll tell you,
pull it face forward.
I'll tell you this for a fact, man. The federal 62 grain fusion ammo for a 5.56 load. That'll do a number on one. It'll drop them. It'll drop them.
They're a lot easier to knock down than a Bigfoot is. I'll tell you that.
Well, we had, like I said, John was there when I started out with my buddy. We only took our dogs and knives. Yeah. And I would go and leg one, flip it, put my knee in its side, and just whop it right underneath the shoulder blade and, bleed it out. But if you don't know what you're doing, let me tell you.
We were catching them alive to sell to get to that guy in Texas that was selling them to Germany.
Yeah, we had a guy that was buying live pigs from us that was shipping them over to Germany, and my buddy had the contract, and we went out. I went out with him to catch some, and we had the trailer set up, all caged in, and we had to sell them live. So we had some pretty big pigs, man. We were catching.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Yeah.
He says big pig. I thought of that immediately. Thought of that song on the Lion King.
Yeah,
he's a big pig. You can be a big pig too.
They call me.
Don't sue me, Disney. That's right.
oh boy.
So many good quotes out of that movie.
Yeah, a lot of good quotes. Ryan William Roll says, I got a great grandma who's 99 years old. Next year, she's turning 100. That's awesome, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Tell her happy birthday.
God bless.
Happy birthday's right.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
The oldest person right now? What's the oldest person? 107 right now?
there's one 118.
Yeah.
Is there?
My wife's mama lived to be 99 and 8 months,
Yeah.
and she passed last year.
Can you imagine?
God bless
I mean, 100 years, 105-year-old,
her.
the stuff that you've seen in your lifetime. This
Yeah.
is just crazy.
If my mom and dad were still alive, Dad would be 98, Mom would be 94.
Man.
This stuff is just nuts, man. The stuff that you've seen. Like, you get these old World War II veterans that are still around that, you listen to their stories, man, you're like, it's like, wow.
My dad would be 104, and my mom would have been 108. She was 4 years older than my dad.
Werewolf says, Doc, you look like you're going down.
Yeah.
Man, I'm fading fast, brother. I'm fading
He's
fast.
ready.
I'm gonna have to piss on the fire and call in the dogs here in a minute.
Well, we are just over the 2-hour mark, so we should probably go ahead and start wrapping things up. We ran out of stories. I could always pull more, but we'll save some more for the next show. I do have a number of people I'm trying to line up as guests that I met at the Dogman conference. Some great stories that I want to have told on the air here on the show. We've got a few other things in the line that I want to share here with the folks. I want to say again, I want to remind again that folks that are members of the Patreon community, short story that I literally just finished day before yesterday called Wrath of the Dogman is up for the patrons to check out. I think everybody here has read it, but Robbie's got a copy and waiting to hear what he thinks of it. You'll be seeing that soon on What Lurks Beneath with Josh Nuncio.
It is good.
It is real good. Yeah.
It is not associated with any of the other stories. These are all new characters in a different setting. So I think you guys get a kick out of it. It will be released as part of a short story compilation at some point in the near future. But right now, it's exclusively on the Patreon channel as a thank you to everybody that supported the Patreon community.
You will really enjoy it.
It is really nice, Clark. Really nice.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Won't you throw something in there for yourself, Clark?
Yes, I figured you'd pick up on that, Robbie.
That was a lot of fun to write. I enjoyed writing it.
Robbie's a movie nut like me, so I can tell. I make a movie reference, and I know Robbie's going to be like,
Got it.
Way too much time on my hands.
Well, this short story, even though it's set in rural Missouri, it's about a small county deputy, and Robbie might be able to relate. I think he may be a little more hesitant to take calls in the middle of nowhere after he reads this one.
Anthony, what'd you think about it, man?
I didn't get to read it yet. John read it. It was sent to him. I can't download it. I have to read it off of his.
Okay, got you.
Mine
I'll put
won't
John to think
download.
about it.
I'll read it.
I sent it in your email, Anthony.
Did you?
Yeah, I emailed it to you too, so you should be able to download it
Okay, I
from
didn't
your
look.
email.
I'll look it up.
I'll probably have to read it to him anyway.
Yeah.
Help him with the big words.
Yeah,
I mean, he is a Marine. If DA had written it in crayon,
I'll send you a copy in crayon.
I got dyslexia. I can't read. I mean, I try to pick up things on it. That's why I like the audibles. The audible I can
Should
just
have
sit
put
there and
little
listen
duckies
to.
and butterflies around the perimeter of it. That would have been fun.
Speaking of audibles, I talked to Cam Buckner on the phone today. He said that he's hoping to have both of Codename Wild Hunt's Curse of the Wendigo and Operation Blood Eagle done in the next 2 weeks. He's cleared his books. He's got other projects done. He's going to concentrate on those 2 books and knock them out back to back and have them sent to Amazon. So keep my fingers crossed in the next couple of months. Because Amazon takes about a month to run them through. So if he gets them done in 2 weeks and Amazon gets them done quickly, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks. But hopefully we'll have 2 more audios out.
Awesome.
He hasn't been on. I haven't seen his.
DA, I got my. I'm sorry, Anthony. DA, I got my my hard drive in, so I'll be able
Awesome.
to. I'll be able to start recording that stuff you wanted me to record.
Yeah. Well, we got plenty of books to go around.
Okay.
Well, as you see,
Thanks, Noah.
This picture here,
Thanks.
let me put that back up. As you can see from that, only 1, 2, 3, 4 of those are in audio. That leaves 22 that need to be done, and I'm still writing more.
So you got how many more in the works? You got like what, 10 you said, or more than that?
In the works?
Mhm.
Oh, dude. Let me.
See, that's what he's doing. He's
bring
training
that
all
up.
of us with these stories, training us all to read the books.
All right, let me share a screen and show you. This is not necessarily in order, but this is something to give you an idea of what I've got currently in the works. So let me share the screen. And again, this is not in order, in no particular order. These are proposed projects. And I'm not going to say which ones are next. Those will be announced on the Patreon.
Holy shit.
Let's see. Book 1 of Man's Marauders I'm working on right now. Heart of Iron I'm working on right now. Dark Moon is done. Needs to be taken off the list. I'm about to start Codename Wild Hunt Death and Die Outlaw Pass. Everybody already knew about that. But then if you will watch as I...
solo project. I like.
Oh, yeah, I like the solo project one there.
Yeah, let's...
Clark solo project. Oh, I'm all about that one too.
Yeah, I'm still scrolling, guys.
Jesus.
Wow.
Holy shit snacks, dude.
Yeah.
That's just what I've got. That's what I've got proposed.
Really, just what you got. You got, I mean...
Holy editor, Batman.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
DA,
And I've got more I'm going to add to that.
DA, you need to stop slacking, dude. You need to stop slacking.
Yeah, I need to get cracking on those.
God, do some work, man. Good Lord.
God.
Yeah, those are just projects that I've got like outlines for. There will probably be more added to that list.
Enough of going to them damn ball games. Get some right.
Hey, Anthony, I think he's got way too much free time on his hands. What do you think?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that.
No, because every time I call him, he's like, I'm writing. I'll call you in about an hour. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm actually trying to expand the amount of time I write. I'm changing my sleep schedule around. Since everybody in the house is up late at night anyway, I'm changing my sleep schedule around so I can try to expand from doing 4 to 5 hours a day writing to 8 to 9.
That'd be good.
Yeah, we don't sleep.
It's the plan to do 8 to 9, maybe even 10 hours a day writing. As long as it flows.
Like a job.
Oh, definitely. It is. It's my career now.
You only get 2 breaks, though. A lunch and 2 breaks. That's it.
Lunch and 2 things right off the gun.
We'll have to have the support of Jorgamunder there. If he can keep the meals cooked, because was a culinary major, he can keep me fed. I'll keep cranking them out.
There you go. You only get 1 meal.
Yeah, just one a day. Can't stop to eat.
I'll slide it under the door. There you go, Dad, under the door. Big tray.
You're not allowed out the door.
Get back to work, Batman.
Yeah, you're not allowed out until you finish this.
Crack that whip, Noah. Let's get going here.
He's gonna start
Pop-Tart.
He's gonna start sliding some SOS under the door.
Yeah.
You don't get any more until you look.
They're gonna lock me in here with a chambered pot and a case of MREs.
That's it, by golly.
What is this? Cornbread again we're having? What is this?
The garden hose stuck in the window so you can get a drink once in a while.
Yeah. Oh man.
But that like I said, that's not an all-inclusive list, and it's certainly not in any particular order. Those are just books that I want to get to in some semblance of an order. No, he says you'll get spam and you'll like it. I don't want spam.
Yeah. You didn't even throw the eggs in there. You don't even get spam and eggs. You just get spam.
You know, spam's just an acronym.
Yeah.
You know, spam's just an acronym. It stands for squirrels, pigeons, and mice.
Spam.
Stuff posing as meat.
Yeah.
Squirrels, pigeons, and mice. And spam light is just skinny squirrels, pigeons, and mice.
Werewolf says Mountain Dew, Hot Pockets, and 5-gallon buckets. That's it.
David Bye's got a good point. You won't need the chamber pot with the.
I was kind of thinking
That's true. Yeah.
That's where the coffee comes in handy, DA.
That's right.
Yeah, you've got to keep with the balancing act.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Werewolves even worse. Mountain Dew, Hot Pockets, and a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
You could
There
take and
you
mount
go.
a toilet seat on that bucket, you know.
Oh,
Hey, yeah,
Oh,
take,
that's
take
funny.
a pool noodle and cut it.
and that's not even counting the list of short stories that I'm going to be producing for Cam Buckner and Josh over at What Lurks Beneath. I'm going to be doing short stories for both of their channels.
Well, you're going to be doing some Steve Lilly stories too to help him and stuff because he's got his own podcast coming out soon in September. I know that. So
Letitia says, good night, my beautiful sister, Tanya Wilson Pink Dolly. Also, good night, my new brother, D.A. Good night. I hope you have a great night. Tell Bart I said hi.
All right, ladies.
good night. Yeah.
Well, we are coming up on the 2.5 hour marks. I started to wrap this up early, and you guys got me sidetracked. But again, that's not an all-inclusive list. That's just projects that are in the works. I'm hoping to have my goal is to get 5 more out before the end of the year. That's my goal.
Damn.
Don't know if I'll make it, but I am going to do my best to release 5 more books before.
All right, where's Noah, the goalkeeper?
When you're lucky, you get Mountain Dew.
Hey.
You get the Mountain Dew.
Yeah, you'll have nothing. You'll have nothing and like it.
That's it.
Just keep feeding me coffee. We've done that forever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, folks, thank you guys for tuning in. At one point, we had 120 people I saw showed up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining us. Again, throw that out there. If you guys want to read that short story, check it out over at the Patreon community at patreon.com/DA Roberts. The new story is called Wrath of the Dogman, and it is all new characters, and it's a totally unrelated story to any of the other books. However, in the future, probably a couple months down the road, it will be appearing with a group of short stories in another compilation. Josh Nanochi over at What Lurks Beneath is going to be narrating that story on his channel. So it's going to be a while before I release it, but I am releasing it right now to my patrons because they have shown such wonderful support and I appreciate everything they do. It's a good community over there, and I want to thank all of them. Leticia says, Bart said goodnight. He's working on a bid for a job. That's awesome. Tell him good luck. I hope he gets it.
Good.
Noah, my smart ass. So get sidetracked and say it isn't so.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but you put the wrong emoji on there.
Yeah.
Never us.
No, not us. Never get sidetracked. I get confused for a little while, but never sidetracked.
Oh, yeah. Dazed and confused. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, guys, thank you guys so much for spending the night with us. To Anthony, Doc, Uncle John, Robbie, thank you guys for spending the evening. I know this was kind of impromptu and unscripted. Leticia, thank you. Thank you so much. I want to thank all my mods. I mean, I've got some awesome mods in the group tonight. Pink Dahlia is one of the mods. Mark Napier was here earlier. I've got several mods in the group tonight. Just really appreciate you guys doing a great job. Hang on just a second. I had to check in something. Sorry. Lene Perkins, I know you were in the house earlier. I don't know if you're still here, but thank everybody. Thank all the moderators, and thank the people over in the Patreon. Yeah, thank everybody over at the Patreon community as well. You guys are awesome. We have a great time doing this kind of stuff. Even if we do get sidetracked quite a bit, and know it, and he's not wrong. Idiots in a public forum. But thank you guys for joining us. We will be back on Wednesday night with another group of wild stories and another good time. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Robbie's partner on. What was his name again, Robbie?
Johnny.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get Johnny on to talk about you guys. Once you guys get your recorded episode out, I'd like to get him on the show to talk about his experiences on here.
Yeah, because he's got a few more past.
That would be
there, so
that'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get him used to it, which was what tonight was supposed to be. But hopefully we can get him on.
Well, vehicle accident.
He's got to come over here because he doesn't have anything to be able to. All he's got is a cell phone. So,
hopefully, you said everybody was okay from the accident, but it does totaling out a vehicle. I know I've been. Anthony, hopefully you'll hear back from your buddy Scott. We can get him on. let me know.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear. He hasn't texted me back, so
Unfortunately, life interfered, and we didn't get to quite do what we wanted to tonight. But Ryan Williams says, "What about Fred Roll?" Yeah, Fred's a big supporter of the channel, and check out Fred's channel over at the Subarctic Sasquatch. Great material over there. Fred's an awesome guy, big friend of the channel. So you guys want to check out some awesome stories, go over and check them out, and check out Pine Box Tales. They've got a lot of legends and myths from the Ozarks and beyond. So there's a lot of great material out there for you guys to listen to, and I hope you guys will join us on Wednesday night. We had a great time tonight telling stories, and even managed to not give Robbie all the long ones.
Just one.
By hook or by crook, we'll get you them long ones one way or the other.
This is my brother. He's doing some work up at my mom and dad's old place, and he said that made his job a lot more tolerable. So thanks for a great show, y'all.
Thank you for joining us. Is he taller than you, Doc?
No, we're all a bunch of pygmies.
the Georgia midgets.
Yeah, dude, we're all a bunch of pygmies.
Well, Doc, you be careful driving home tomorrow. 14-hour drive. 13 of that's in Texas.
Yeah, literally, man. Yeah, 14 hours and 11 of it's in Texas. So yeah, it's gonna be a long day.
Well, drive careful. Give Angie my love.
We'll do it, brother.
You guys be safe. Robbie, you be careful. Be careful out there. Watch your back. Keep your head on a swivel. And we will see you guys on Wednesday night. And again, thank you guys for joining us. Thank everybody for your love and support. We had an awesome time. Can't wait to see you guys again. And we will do it again on Wednesday night. Good night, everybody.
good night.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.